because he knows that I'm the Cyber Dragon. Gawd. So I just have to do
Yeah.
I had to do it for him one time. I had to do it for him one time.
I love that. Well, welcome back to the IMNerd podcast, guys. We're here for episode 20, and we have a special guest today, my good friend and longtime friend, Blair Hunter.
Hey, yo, what's going on? It's Blair with IMNerd podcast here with Freeway and the legendary Kenny. What's going on, y'all?
Oh, shit, I'm legendary? Hell yeah. Let's go. Well, I'm with the legendary Mugiwara no Blair.
Hey, what's good? Thank y'all for having me.
But yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, Blair. We'd like to hear, how did you get into Yu-Gi-Oh and your Yu-Gi-Oh journey?
So majority like my Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess how I started Yu-Gi-Oh is almost like anyone else's. They watch the anime, you get started like that. Play the game wrong. Pretty much, I started by watching the anime like when it first came out. I think it was Kids WB is when it first aired.
Yeah,
like when 4Kids was doing it
on there.
Yeah, like that was when 4Kids was doing it. Terribly, by the way, but but that's where it started. I got into it.
Yo, I always say that the 4Kids dub of One Piece is basically One Piece abridged. That's how bad it is.
Like 4Kids has done a lot of stuff. I think they did Pokemon as well.
Yeah,
and
they definitely did.
Yeah, and it's never good. If we were big in the sub back then, that would have been the time to do it.
Yes,
like 100%. But like I started watching it, got interested. I'm like, okay, I like what it's going. I like the whole transformation scene with Yami and Yugi.
Yeah,
all that and stuff with all the characters. And then that's when the card game first came out. And some of my friends that lived in my neighborhood at the time got the cards. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Mom, dad bought me these cards or whatever. So they end up giving me the cards. We would like play out in the street and anything. Of course, playing bad. Like following no rules. We didn't follow any of the rules at all.
Right, just doing what you see in the show, like summoning monsters straight out, no tributing, no anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But like since we didn't play it correctly, whatever, it was just short lived and just got out of the game. Interesting enough, me getting back into the game didn't happen until college. One of my frat brothers actually it was just like one of the like semesters getting ready to go into Christmas break. He was like, "Hey, y'all got a confession? I play Yu-Gi-Oh!" Like still, we're like everyone is like, "Oh wow, that's crazy!" Like we all remember playing it back in the day and stuff. So he brought out the cards and everything. We're like, "No, this is interesting." So just to have something for us to do with him and us collectively as a group, we all kind of started picking up playing the cards. He had extra cards that we built decks out of. They were still bad. I think like my first deck. Like the first deck that I played.
Yeah.
My boss monster was Frostosaurus.
Oh God.
Let's go.
So my win condition was get Frostosaurus out and just beat you down.
What's the attack of that monster?
It's like 26 or something.
Yeah, I think it's the long neck, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's a normal monster. So
I remember not having having an extremely long neck, like a Land Before Time looking fucking.
For some reason, I think it's a 2650. But maybe not.
It's around the range. Like it's pretty big. Like for the monsters back then.
Yeah.
Of course, not outside of like the broken monsters like that and stuff like that. But for a normal monster, it was like I think it was 1 tribute or 2 tributes. This one. I want to say it's 1.
I think it's 1. So that's pretty cool. So your frat brother, it was like you said, it was like a confession. So it was one of those things where you guys all had to say something about yourself.
For the most part, like this is after we had been done with everything. We were already in and stuff, so we were just out hanging out.
Okay, yeah. Well, I guess if you feel comfortable enough, you're just like, fuck it. At this point, we're frat brothers now. Like, hey, I'll play Yu-Gi-Oh, but that's not, nowadays, like that's just regular. It's like, oh, whatever. Like you play Yu-Gi-Oh.
Dude, I do remember back in the day, man. Like it was, I told this story before. I got jumped. Because I went to one of my friends that I hadn't seen in a while. I was like, yo, you remember when we used to play Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, not even like you play Yu-Gi-Oh now. Like, yo, we used to play Yu-Gi-Oh. He's like, no, I never did that. I was like, what do you mean?
He straight denied you in front of everybody.
No, I never did that. And then like 2 days later, he called me up. He's like, hey, blah, blah, blah. You want to hang out? I was like, yeah. I went to go meet him. And when I went to go meet him, he had like 4 guys with him, and they jumped me.
Oh
Damn.
wow!
I was like, because I said you played Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, come on. What is this?
Couldn't even
Yeah,
get his ass beat for the most random reason.
I got jumped for nothing.
yeah, that
my
is
God.
wild. That's wild.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at your trauma, but that is
It's
just
cool. I was like, it's crazy because I was like 16 at the time. And when we were
Damn.
playing Yu-Gi-Oh, we were like 12, 13. And I hadn't seen him for a couple years. I went back, saw him, and then he was just completely different. Like he was doing drugs every
wanted to be
day.
cool.
He was drinking. Yeah, he was hanging out with a different crowd. He thought he was cool. And so when I was like, "Hey man, remember when we used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, like the good old days?" He was like, "No, I never did that. I never did that." I was like,
Yeah.
"What?"
Damn. So that's like you starting Yu-Gi-Oh pretty much like everyone else, where you don't really play by the rules. Your deck is kind of trash or whatever. But then at some point you become a competitive player, because when I met you, you were already a competitive person and like
Right.
fully trying to win tournaments every time.
Yeah,
So,
you don't get pictures like these two without doing
yeah,
something.
like you're you've been through sponsorships and everything. So I'm wondering, at what point did you start to take the game seriously and start to travel for it and stuff like that?
So I started. Not the first time. The second time, that was when my frat brother technically got us into the game. That was 2009. And at that point, that was just me, a group of friends in college, just playing the game, having a good time. I didn't know anything about the Shonen Jumps, no YCSs. I didn't know what a dad was. Card wise. But like I didn't know anything about the meta, like top players or anything. It was just literally like casual as casual. I didn't even go to locals at that point. I think I didn't start going to locals maybe until about late 2010, 2011, when I started trying to be a little competitive, go to locals, but it was still mostly fun. But like when you become a competitive player, if you're not winning, like you're not enjoying the game.
Yeah,
So
that's how I felt.
It got to a certain point I got tired of getting my ass beat every single week at locals. I'm like, all right, something's got to change. So like it wasn't even just like my friend that played. He had other friends at our college that actually played as well too, but they were more on the competitive side. I think that's the first time like I saw Black Wings, Heroes, and stuff like that. And then
like real decks, real constructed decks.
So like when I started talking to them, they started getting me on the path to being more competitive. My first actual deck that one of my friends gave to me was Frog Monarchs.
Okay,
that was the first deck that was actually
shaking his head.
I love that deck. I fucking love that deck.
That deck was very, very fun. And that was when we had Fishboard Blaster was still legal. Yeah, like that. I love that. Man, Formula Synchro, like that was a very, very fun deck. But even if you have a competitive deck, if you don't know what you're doing, you're still gonna end up losing.
Exactly.
Which is what happened. At that certain local, I don't even think I ever topped that local ever. And like that logo's not even in existence anymore, but I never ever topped that local.
So you had some pretty like decent players there then, if that's the case.
That local there was pretty decent. Like they had decent people. That's actually where I met Spoofy. That was the first time I had ever met Spoofy. Kyle Jones. Like that was the first time I had ever met him, but we didn't really get together until later on in the years.
Yeah.
Like when I started really wanting to get competitive, that was when I was traveling to Super Games.
And that's Super Games. That's like the Georgia local, right? Georgia local. Yeah.
It's a Georgia local, a little bit above Atlanta, and everyone that knows about Super Games, that's where the players play.
Right. Like Hoban played there. The Leverets, Corey McDuffie, he's from there?
Yeah, Corey used to work there.
Okay.
Yeah, Corey, and he, like when I first got there, Corey was mainly doing the vending and stuff, and he was big into Magic at that point.
Yeah,
like, he was big in Magic. He didn't get into like just to randomly do a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament until like that year that he ended up winning nationals.
Yeah, so just like Kenny in on this too. So Corey, he's now deceased, so rest in peace to him. But he was a Yu-Gi-Oh national champion, so he won nationals. But he also was on the Pro Tour, I believe, at some point in Magic the Gathering as well. So he was like a really good Magic player and a really good Yu-Gi-Oh player at the same time from Georgia. And or like at least that's where he played that mostly. But there was a period where like every year basically Georgia had won nationals. Like Hoban won in 2013. I think Corey won 2014. Yeah, and then after that in 2015, Noah Green won, who's also, I believe, around that area. Or like,
and then my man Blair won in 2016.
Oh yeah, I wish it was on the same level because I definitely wanted to win, especially a national tournament.
Like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, I think that's everyone's dream. That's everyone's dream. Win
I would
nationals,
love
go to
to win
world.
nationals because then you also go to worlds, but you also want a tournament that's once a year. Like that is just
all the
I
players
still
like
do that.
around the country, not even just U.S. but Canada. Like
that's
like
the big one.
out of everyone, all the regions that played Yu-Gi-Oh and have like their national tournament or their national championship or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the thing, United States. I'm about to tell a lie because I'm about to say United States has the largest. No, well, at least I think actually we do have a lot. I think we actually do have the largest number. Like
because of population alone, like the U.S. has so many people in it.
Yeah.
Right.
So what I wanted to say, Blair, where are you actually from?
There's different ways to put this. I was like born in Michigan. Like that's where I'm from. But I've lived majority of my life in Georgia. I lived in a town called Jonesboro, Georgia, which is in the metro Atlanta area, is like outside of Atlanta.
Okay.
And then currently now I live in Warner Robins, which is an hour and a half south of Atlanta.
Okay.
And my college was pretty much in the same area, Fort Valley. Like no one's gonna know where that is. A couple of people, but like saying when I used to go to Supers, I would get out of class in college, round up my friends in the car, and we would drive to Supers. And every time, of course, we go through Atlanta, so it's like 5-6 o'clock. So we're hitting Atlanta traffic, which is terrible. If you've ever been in any kind of traffic, Atlanta traffic is horrible. I
can imagine it's like New York traffic.
All right. Maybe it's probably a little less than New York, but it's bad.
I've been in Atlanta traffic a couple times, and like you said, it is god awful. I put it up there. It's like LA, New York, and Atlanta are all really, really bad.
I've never been to Atlanta, but I've been to LA and New York, and I imagine Atlanta is pretty similar.
Yeah, it's similar, but like going from college to Super Games was a 2-hour commute, like 2 hours there.
Yeah.
And then we get back late at night, like the tournaments went into like maybe 11, 12 o'clock because we start at 7, 4 or 5 rounds, top cut. And then we go out and get something to eat, and then we'd be on the way back. On the way back is like we cut that time about like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I love locals, man. Everyone does the same thing. You go to locals, you're friends with the people at your local, hopefully, and then you guys after the tournament, you all go out somewhere to eat and like just talk a bunch of shit, have a great time, cause a scene, and then you all go home. And it's like the best feeling ever. Those Sunday nights, or at least it used to be Sunday for me when that was like the end of the week. That was my most competitive local because we had locals multiple times during the week, but Sunday was like the main one at AU too. And so many good players would play there. We've had iPad tournaments and like PlayStation tournaments, Wii tournaments, whatever the systems were back then. But after
you said events, Wii tournaments, it took me half a second because I thought you said weed tournament. I was like, excuse me?
No.
I was around back then. I do not recall.
No, I don't even think it was legal back then. It was not legalized. But yeah, I mean, so you go from like playing like everyone else based on the show, and then at some point you get a Frog Monarch deck. But I'm still trying to figure out at what point does Blair start to top events? Like where do you start to what do you start to do to get better to the point where you're able to compete at a really high level? Because you're one of the most decorated players in the game. You have a lot of tops from what I understand. And
right.
Yeah, I think you even won an ARG, right?
I won 2.
Holy shit.
Tell them, put them up.
So look at that. Like,
so I know what the episode I did with Ed, that Ed had his pulled up.
Ed had a whole list. Ed read off a list.
He did.
Yeah, I have my list to the side as well.
Okay, all right. Well, can we get our boy Blair Hunter to read off his list? I always want to give people their flowers while they're here. We know we want to celebrate you as our guest. So
right. All right, so
let's hear it, because you are a very respectable player.
I'm gonna have my fingers ready. I'm counting.
all right. So I won't say the number. So we're gonna go. The first one is ARG, the 15K in 2014 with Hat.
Okay.
That's top 32. YCS Charleston, 2015, top 32 with Satellar Knights.
Okay.
ARG Orlando 2016 is the one that I won with Perform Age Magicians, which is Pendulum deck.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like right before Bosch. Like that's when Skull Combat Joker just came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the very, very watered down Pendulum deck. Still good. It was still good at the time. ARG Pittsburgh 2016, top 8 with Cosmos. ARG Charlotte 2016, top 8 with Fire King Cosmos. ARG, I need glasses now. ARG St. Louis 2016, top 16, Fire King Cosmos. ARG Orlando 2016, top 16, Fire King Cosmos. The ARG Invitational in 2016, top 16, Fire King Cosmos. YCS Toronto 2016, top 16, Fire King Cosmos. ARG OKC 2016 Fire King Cosmos. ARG Charlotte 2016 is one-on-one, second one-on-one with ABC. ARG St. Louis 2017 top 16 with Zodiac. ARG Knoxville 2017 top 4 with Zodiac. YCS Toronto 2017 fourth place with Zodiac. ARG Charlotte 2018 top 16 Pixel Magicians. YCS Pasadena 2018 top 16 with Dino Thunder. That's pretty much like the dinosaur deck, and then Thunder Dragons. That deck was very, very fun. That deck was fun. Oh my god,
Dino Thunder. I've never actually heard of that one.
Like that deck, I was like in that Top Cut. I was the only person in Top Cut playing that deck. That deck was very, very fun. The reason I played that deck, of course, y'all were talking about earlier. Thunder Dragon Colossus was pretty much like he had his neck on. He had his foot on everybody's neck.
Yeah, that card is absurd. You can't search your deck at all.
Yeah. So the biggest deck that a lot of people were playing, a lot of the top players were playing at the time was and I know it's on the top to my tongue. It was the Danger OTK.
Yes.
Where they do a slash draw. So the biggest thing was, and then the deck searches a lot. So I would pretty much put up Thunder Dragon Colossus. I'll put up Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, make an Abyss Dweller, have hand traps and infinite impermanence and stuff like that. So like they would go through all the dangers, put all the dangers on the boards. Phantom Sky Blaster makes our huge and stuff. So if I went first, they can't search. Right. And then second of all, they put all their monsters on the board, activate Ultimate Conductor Tyranno,
and put them all face down.
Mm-hmm. And they can't. And at that time, that's when Link Summoner was out, and you can't link with face down monsters at the time. So pretty much their board was stuck. They can't do anything else. They can't search. They can't do anything. And then I just kill all their monsters and just kill them the next turn. Yeah, that deck was very fun. That deck was very fun.
You said something interesting.
Won that one?
You said what?
That's that's one of the ones you won.
No, that was an ARG. No. That was a YCS that he topped.
Okay.
Well, what I was going to say was you said something about back then you couldn't link with face down monsters. Has that changed?
I think there's one archetype is a bad archetype. It's called like crawlers. If I'm wrong, they're gonna butcher me anyway. But I think that archetype you can link with face down monsters.
Okay, so there's like a specific theme of cards where they say one face down monster or some shit like that.
And then there's also a generic link one that you can use face down monsters to.
Okay, yeah, that's wild. With. So that's actually because I was about to say I thought that all link summoning had to be face up, but if they're trying to make it more like contact fusion where you can set things and then start linking, that's going to be annoying.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny that you say contact fusion because that's where the next couple come from as well with contact. So I think the last one I said was YCS Pasadena 2018 with Dino Thunder top 16. Yep. YCS Niagara Falls 2019 top 32 with Cyber Dragon Orchest. YCS Fort Worth 2019 top 32 Cyber Dragon Orchest. YCS Pasadena 2019 that was weekend of our birthday with top 32 Cyber Dragon Orchest. And then the Pro Play Games, the PPT Invitational in Orlando top 16 with Cyber Dragon Orchest.
Holy shit.
So wait, was that all of it?
Yeah, that's all of them.
Oh, that's an even 20.
And it's the 20th episode.
That's crazy.
20.
Look at how it lines up. Ed was talking about how he hates the number 17. Mm-hmm. He was the 17th episode. And Blair loves 20 because he has 20 tops. a ton of ARG, Konami, and even some PPG in there. So Blair has topped everything that you can pretty much top in this game.
I was going to say... most of those were ARGs, and if I remember, ARG was the one with real prize pools.
ARG had a really good prize pool, and arguably the better players did go to ARGs because in order to compete at like something that wasn't official, you have to take the game extremely seriously to even want to go to something like that, right? Like it's not a sanctioned event or whatever, but people like the best of the best players definitely went to ARGs, which is. You know, sometimes you just have a bracket of 10 people. It's like, holy shit, like I know every single person I played today. Like rarely do I actually play randoms at ARGs or like people who I just don't know at all. You know, I go to the event and be like, I know literally 100 of the people in this room and there's only, you know, they were small. So they were like 250 people or something. Like I know over 100 of the people, maybe even more than that, honestly.
Man.
And those tournaments were pretty difficult.
They were very, very, very hard. Like there were
Blair
times
has a great amount of both Konami and ARG tops. So
a lot more ARGs. Like the very beginning, like when I first started topping, it was primarily ARGs. I had like a couple YCS that were peppered in there.
Yeah,
but then like this last stretch, like 2018, 2019, was when it started picking up with YCS tops, which I was very happy with.
Yes, and I like that you have those two ARG wins. ARG wins, they were paying out like $1,500 for first place, which is a good amount of money.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's damn. What's your first top was at ARG, but what deck was it?
It was a hat deck. The hat deck hand artifact trap tricks.
What made you want to play that? Because I'm also a person who taught with was it Fat? So I topped Nationals with Fat, which is the Fire Fist artifact trap tricks. And then I topped the ARG, the whatever one, I think Sahabi one.
Yeah, that was a 15K.
And I've topped with Cat with that one. I
was about to say, I'm mad there's decks Fat, Hat, Cat.
Yep.
Rat. Like, y'all were playing Dr. Seuss, all right?
Was there a rat? There was a rat deck too?
So someone probably tried it. I don't know I don't know what their R would be, but I'm pretty sure they tried it.
Probably raccoons. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, your first one was Hat. And I personally love that deck. But what made you actually want to play that?
So that year, like what was that? That was 2014. That was at 2014. Yeah. So that year was the first year that I actually played in the Konami Nationals. That was the first, the World Championship World Championship qualifier. That was the first one that I actually played in. The ones that I played in, the first one I went to previously in 2013, I actually didn't play. I ended up being on the judge staff for the one for 2013 that Hobie won.
Oh, I forgot that you were a judge at one point. Yeah, I forgot about Blair in a judge uniform. That was definitely a thing.
Let me slide in. Do you have a story or an experience of like one of the most annoying kind of somebody you had to deal with who asked you for a ruling, you tell them the ruling and they're like, nah. Like, have you ever had some shit like that happen?
All the time. So like just to touch on it briefly, like if it permits, we'll probably touch on it a little bit later on in the episode. But I did judge a good bit of YCSs, like the YCSs. I did the World Championship qualifier in 2013. Later on in the years, before I solely started just playing, when I just quit judging and started playing, I actually start head judging all the regionals in Georgia. So I was a head judge for Georgia for a good bit of time, like a year or two. And like this happened multiple times. There'd be times where like someone would stop me and I'm like walking around. I'm walking around and then they're like, hey, I got this ruling. And I'm like, first of all, you don't want me to answer this. and they're like, no, you're like, no, go ahead. And then they'll tell me the ruling is something really, really stupid or really scared. I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't, it works like this, whatever. And like, nah, man, I don't believe you. Can I appeal? And I'm like, who are you going to appeal to? I'm literally, I told y'all y'all didn't want to get the answer from me first. And because like primarily as a head judge, you don't take the first call because in that scenario,
there's no appeal at that point.
Yeah, not if they feel defeated at that point, like more so anyway, because like there's no one they can talk. Can I talk to the TO? You don't know anything.
Yeah, the TO.
The TO don't know nothing.
The TO was here to host this tournament, and that is it. I am the highest up the chain you can go as far as Konami.
That's it. And I appeal. Okay, I turn back around. What's your question?
I gave him a chance. I'm like, you don't want me to answer this.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I do know a lot of people bug the head judge before events start because there's always a chance that the head judge will give a ruling for a tournament that may not necessarily be the correct ruling, but because the head judge says so for that weekend, it just flies. An example of this has been tour guide getting Sangan overlay, detached Sangan at searches. Indianapolis 2011, that was a rule. There was a Toronto YCS or some YCS where Dante, so chain disappearance would banish Dante and then go in the extra deck and banish the other copies of Dante.
Oh yeah. I remember that tournament.
That was a crazy ruling. Yeah, there's just been a couple of rulings that head judges have made in the years where it can completely shake up the meta. And the Friday before the event, people ask the head judge, and then people start spreading rumors. Oh my God, did you hear how they're ruling Magician Shark this weekend? Did you hear how they're ruling like everything? People will just make up stuff, and you hear all this buzz in the hotels about, oh my God, this card's crazy now. Like, it's ridiculous. People were looking for chain disappearance. People were charging $30 for rare copies of Chain Disappearance because they're like, oh, it banishes all the Dantes, and BA was like one of the best decks, if not the best deck at the time.
Oh yeah,
so that was a thing. But
arguably.
I've never been a head judge, but I have judged for many years. I think starting in like 2009 or 2010, I started judging regionals. I never judged a YCS because I always said to myself, I'm so competitive that I'd rather play every single time.
Right.
And so I never judged the YCS, but I was pressured to for a while by some of the other head judges in my area and the head judges that would come to Philly. But I never did it. But I enjoy judging Philly regionals like a lot. Like that was one of my, I've done it for like 10 years, I want to say. And I enjoyed that a great deal. even though some of the questions are crazy and you're on your feet a long ass time.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
always like to wear nice shoes, and nice shoes feel awful. But I
Oh,
still
yeah,
like
they do.
watching multiple games.
I would have slid in there with Heelys on.
Oh, yeah, I think I know one watch it's like someone was in there like with Heelys just like literally just skating around like the whole thing. I'm like, man, that could be me.
Yeah,
That could be me.
that could be me.
That
I'm
could
misplaced.
be me.
Julia didn't say anything. She allowed it. She's
Yeah.
cool with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
But-
pretty dope.
Yeah, but I think you said we were talking about what got me to play Hat for the first
Yeah,
one.
what got you to play
Yeah.
Hat?
All right, so at that World Championship qualifier, so the finals of that was Corey, of course, the late Corey McDuffie,
Yep.
and then Dion Ackridge. So at the time, Dion actually stayed in my area when I was in college, so I saw him a lot at the first locals, and then he would start riding with me to Super Games. So like a lot of my stuff, like with Deck Build and everything, I go like me and him would talk about certain stuff,
Right.
like not necessarily in depth for like certain things, but like other formats and stuff we talk more in depth about, like what we would play. So going into that World Championship qualifier, I actually had a couple decks that I wanted to play out. I wasn't sold on a deck yet. I think my options I was looking at was either Yugioh, Hat, but Hat was like on the low end at that point, and then Sylvans was one. I think that was like the main ones that I was looking at. It was either going to be Yugioh, Sylvans. It was going to be Yugioh or Sylvans, and I ended up going with Sylvans. And then I did decent. I like my first one. I lost my first round. Like I lost for like a whole bunch of WCQs starting off. I lost my first round every time. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. But
Every time.
But I end up losing like round 8 of day 1, which put me out of contention. But Dion's start was terrible. He lost the first one and drew the second round,
Oof.
and then made it all the way to the finals. And then
Damn, he must have won out.
he definitely won out. Like a lot of the games, like luck was on his side. Like everyone says, I'm rather be lucky than good, but like luck was on his side. I remember watching his top 8 match versus Tamid. And when I say that was the wildest match I ever saw,
That was the one with the Stardust and the D prison, right?
Yes, it was like that match was so crazy. I'm like,
So
oh my god.
Tamid, I think he attacked with Stardust Dragon into a D prison or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then that basically caused him to lose the entire thing and not go to Worlds out.
Right.
I remember hearing the story. The details are a little fuzzy, but I do remember something about a Stardust and a D prison. If Tamid just doesn't attack with Stardust, he pretty much wins the game, guaranteed.
Right.
Yep.
But he just didn't respect it. But then Dion ended up getting second. I was talking with Dion. I already had plans to go to the ARG of 15K, but Dion was gonna go. So I was like, hey, let me use your deck. And then he was like, yeah, sure, here you go. So he literally gave me the deck. And then like we tweaked a couple things in the with the list, pretty much to get it ready for that tournament. And that's how I ended up playing it. And then he had just won the giant hand, so he put that in the deck. He was like, you can use the giant hand too. I'm like, oh wow,
damn. And you had the full hat deck, the prize card. Yeah, giant hand actually mattered back then. I forgot about that.
It did.
Yeah, I guess those Gear Gears and Fire Fist Bear. Somebody tries to activate Bear Effect to pop, and you're just like, detach to like negate.
Yeah, and it was like for that time period, it was actually pretty big. Like for the majority of those decks, they couldn't get over it. Really.
Yeah, no, that's a big deal. Yeah, so that was your first one. What's your most memorable top, or like your favorite in a way?
Yeah,
like one of your favorite events or format,
or deck or something like that.
Okay, so I have all of them are different. So we'll start with the favorite event. So the favorite event is going to be the one that I won the first one, which was in 2016 with the Pendulum Magicians. So it's memorable to me because that's my third top, but me winning my first event in only 3 tops, like it showed like how much I came up.
Yeah,
like,
that's a
as a player. Yeah, because honestly, like I didn't get really good into the game. Like I started getting competitive. I didn't really get good into the game, like understanding stuff on how the game works. First of all, was when I started judging, because once you learn mechanics, like wording and stuff, how to play around certain things. Like you read a card that say if, does say when. Not necessarily more win now, because everything says if now.
Yeah, the game is super streamlined as far as that goes. But the cards have so much text now. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I learned pretty much learn all the rulings and stuff that got me a lot better quicker. And back when I was learning, I used to go on like Wikipedia and just read cards. So I was reading cards, so like my knowledge of cards started getting a lot better. But the deck that got me like playing better, like soundly more correct, was the Dragon Ruler deck. Like full power dragons. That's when I first started getting like really good.
Okay, so 2013 that time.
Like actually like that. I was still judging at the time, but my first regional top, and I think that was third place. That was with Dragon Rulers.
Full power.
Full power. It was the last weekend before they got hit the first time.
Okay.
Yeah, before they killed the babies.
Like literally the first hoorah with the last hoorah with the day before it got hit. But that was my first regional top.
That deck was hard to play. A lot of people played it wrong.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it's like as powerful as it was, you can mess it up. He's like literally put like we were talking about y'all talking about the colors in like another episode. You play the wrong color first, you lose the max. You lose the max C, or like you can just stop. But if you like say you put
Title or 10%
title or 10% on the field first, then you lose a Crimson Blade.
I have never in my life summoned Title or Tempest first as my first summon. That is how strict I am. I will literally pass my turn and say go.
Every time.
I will not. You will never ever see me go summon Tempest, summon Title as like my first summon. That has just never happened. I would do anything else.
And that was a big thing in the day. Like if you couldn't play around a certain card that you lost.
Yeah.
Like you literally lost. Like if you can't play around it, then you just don't play. People
can't deal with that concept of like don't do anything. So I've actually played against so many people. I topped at Nationals that Hoban won. We pretty much had the same deck too, because I was playing Double Emptiness in my main deck. Right. And I can't tell you the number of people who just turn one, they're like banish 2, summon, and it's like Title. And I'm like maxi. So at this point, you have to synchro into something. You cannot leave a Title there. You cannot 1-for-1 trade me because in that format, Crimson Blader is just game. Like if I Crimson Blader you are going to die. So I'm like, okay, I draw 1. Now I'm looking at them, and then some people would actually pass, which is wild, and then some people would synchro and give me another card, and then like, okay, now we like at the very least, at least you realize you have to clear your own Tempest or Title when you do that,
right?
But the people who would like, just pass, and then they think that because they have a maxi that it's going to stop me, so then I go summon a dragon, and they go maxi, and I'm like, that's fine. Summon a tuner, synchro, make Crimson Blade, you draw another card, attack your guy, you fucking lose. Like I don't care that you drew 2 cards, like you're dead. And they like draw, pass, and I'm like, summon a bunch of dragons, kill you. Like it's just game. But that has happened so many times throughout the however many months that deck was legal. And I don't know why people start off summoning Tempest and Title, but it's just such a tiny little thing that changes everything about being a good player, a great player in that format.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so that deck is what helped make you say that's the deck that helped make you like key into how to play correctly.
Yeah. Like during that format, that's when I started understanding everything, understanding like, hey, like just how we're talking about, like, so don't something like if you can't summon either Blaster or Redox first, don't play like it.
Don't play into dying because like it is actually a game.
Because instead of me like just trying to play so I don't die, like it gave me the option like, hey, if I do this, I lose.
Yeah.
If I don't do this, I don't lose to this card. Which I know that it's a big thing in this format. Majority of everybody was playing Dragon Rulers and stuff. Unless I knew that they weren't playing, like it wasn't a mirror match. It was like spell books or something else.
Yeah, they're playing fucking what's that called?
Evil Swarms.
Evil Swarm. That's the exact one I was thinking of. Yeah, Evil Swarm. I'll summon all my shit turn 1 against that deck. I'll fucking summon everything.
You have to like they go first to make Ophion and then set a Pandemic. It's literally over.
Yeah, you can't do anything. I hated that deck. I hated all of those kind of like trashy suicide bomb decks that are just anti-meta as hell. Even though like I have my anti-meta moments, but whenever there's a clear, concise best deck, I just play that usually. I'm like, nope.
I was like that. I was like that for a good, like the early years. Like when I started getting good, I was like that for the first couple of years. Then I kind of shifted away for that.
So you used to be kind of like an anti person.
No. I'm talking like with the meta, like
play the best
like with the meta. Like I was like, oh, I got to play the best deck. Because I was in that Super Games mentality because I hung around the Leverage, I hung around Hoban, I hung around Desmond. Well, Desmond later on, because Desmond was on the Karakuri kick for a good minute.
He was Karakuri kick at first, and then he went on to top the most ARGs out of anyone in history. I feel like.
But like I was definitely into the meta mind frame, and then like as I got older later in the years, like playing meta is fine. Also, if you enjoy that said deck and it's the best deck, then
then it's great if you have a connect. Because sometimes it's hard to play the meta if you don't feel it. Like I don't know if I would ever be a tri-brigade player, for example.
Right, I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not.
Yeah, I don't see myself playing that. Like if I were playing right now, I know a lot of people do consider that to be the best deck or like top 2, maybe not 2. But I personally just have a hard time wrapping my mind around that being the best deck, even if it actually is. I don't know if I would personally I don't know if I'll personally play it. I'm not saying I would be a Drytron player either, but I don't know if I would play Tri Brigade.
Like I've dabbled around with that deck a little bit. It is powerful, it's good, but like the play style that it like its play style is really not like what I like. Honestly, like I'm in and out of the format right now. I really haven't had the time to play like I used to, but I honestly like the Drytron deck. Like
a lot of
like
people do.
Mm-hmm.
It's very broken. I mean, it's so when I first started to try to understand Yu-Gi-Oh now, and this is I'm probably at least 2 or 3 months in now, and it was the first deck that I started to learn coming back, because all of the people who I messaged were like, Drytron is crazy, it's the best deck, it does so much, high ceiling, rah rah rah, that whole bit. And I watched some combo videos and I was like, holy shit, that does look insane. Like you ending on Herald of Perfection or Ultimateness or whatever the fuck it's called, and then you have all these cards in your hand, and you might have Dragoon as well. I was like, that does seem like the best deck. And then I started to watch it actually play against other people. And sometimes when we get stopped, I'm like, I don't really like the way this looks. And then I started to notice that every single deck in current Yu-Gi-Oh, when it goes first and does what it wants, it just fucking ends the game regardless. So what seemed special to me about Drytron when I first was watching, I didn't know anything. I realized that every deck does something like that turn 1. Like I watched a Dinosaur deck, turn 1, Naturia Beast, Omega, Logia, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, and that other dinosaur that's like 2700 and negates a spell or trap.
Guatless.
Yep, I'm seeing fields like that. Then with Shadalls, I'm seeing turn 1 window with a schism set so they can go into window again, Makaba or Dragoon. And then you got the Prank Kids deck I'm seeing totally awesome with like a couple other Prank Kid Fusion or Exceeds monsters on the field, not Exceeds, Fusion or Link monsters on the field with a bunch of cards in hand, usually hand traps. And then if you don't clear it, they kill you next turn.
Right.
Tri Brigade, same thing. Turn 1, crazy setup. Added Nister, same thing. Towers, turn 1, crazy setup. I mean, like every single deck that I watched, when they would go first, they would just do the most, except Sky Striker. I always shit on that deck.
Oh my god.
That is the only deck that when it goes first, I'm just like, oh, okay, like that's not real. But every other deck, I'm nervous as hell when they go first because you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And it doesn't
take
take
a time
much.
in Yu-Gi-Oh when you had to tribute 2 monsters.
Yeah.
Like that's
We're
not a
so
thing.
far past that now. Like, the game has just gotten so ridiculously crazy. And so I was trying to decipher what is the best deck. And that question is so hard for people to answer for a lot of reasons. And maybe the question shouldn't be easily answerable, but I don't know if I like the idea of playing 15 hand traps and 25 other cards in my deck and flying out somewhere, booking a hotel, and then telling myself that like I'm about to go win this tournament. Like that just seems crazy to me.
Right.
But yeah, what's your thoughts on like current Yu-Gi-Oh?
You pretty much don't know. That's what it is. Like it's build a board. Like it's literally every deck is build a board.
Yeah.
If you can't build a board, then you're about 9 times out of 10 gonna lose.
Yep.
If you're playing a deck that doesn't build a board, like Control, not Sky Striker, because Sky Striker's ass. It's always been ass.
Or like the Eldritch deck or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like anything that's like heavy traps and stuff. Of course, like Solemn Judgment's at 3.
Yeah.
You do Dark Bribe or whatever, stuff like that. But like there's so many cards that deal with that. Like you have Evenly Matched, Lightning Storm, not Heavy Storm, but Duster.
Yeah, you have worse. Have Harvey Summer Duster, Twin Twister, Red Reboot, Denko Sekka. I've seen it all. I've actually seen all of these things happen too.
Like even like for that deck, there's so many answers. Like it could be a combo deck, and then they just switch to that. If I'm playing against a back row deck, like I put in my back row hate, and then I draw it, and then
you just get destroyed. And it doesn't take many cards for any deck to go off right now either, which is scary.
Like
I was saying this in our Maxi video, but like most decks take 1 or 2 cards to do their entire combo.
Yeah, it's scary. And then, like in those years, like even like starting in 2009 to now 2021, like how drastic the change has been in the game is just crazy, and it happened fast.
It did. It really did, because at one point, like 2009, for example, one of the best decks was the Rescue Cat deck that, you set Spy turn 1, or you had Summoner. If you had Summoner Monk, you would just do your combo.
Right.
But normally you'd be like, set Spy, then they do whatever. On your turn, you can flip Spy, get another Spy, summon Rescue Cat, and you get X-Saber Bellum and like something else, and you start synchro summoning for Arcanite Magician or Black Rose Dragon or whatever, Dark Strike Fighter. And that was crazy. Like that was like there was like, oh my god, he just made 2 level 7 synchros off of like nothing basically. Like that was just a nut. And then speed up to 2013 with Dragon Rulers, and I thought that was I don't know if I thought Yu-Gi-Oh would ever get crazier than Dragon Rulers. Like when it happened, the power of playing Super Rejuvenation on the end phase, like, and getting a new hand and having so many cards that you had to discard, and then on the other side of the table, the fucking spellbook deck also on turn 1 gets so many cards that it has to discard on the end phase. I was like, this is as crazy as it's ever going to get. Yu-Gi-Oh will never be this crazy again. After these cards are gone, it'll simmer down, and it did. Cat and Gear and Water and Fire Fist are all like that next phase after 2013. But out of nowhere, Yu-Gi-Oh just got so crazy in 2017 with Spiral. I think that's when I quit. It's like around 2017. Zoo had just finished its whole fusion substitute nonsense. The game was out of control with Zoo for a while, but Zoo was a bit more bearable, I would say. And when Spirals happened, the link mechanic, that was that whole thing. It was just a lot. Like I just would see the turn 1 boards that Spiral would build consistently, and all the hand traps you had to play to not let them board the firewall play and all that stuff. And I was like, I don't really want to do this. I was also taking my career more seriously and stuff, so I just kind of got out of it. But I know a lot of people played through all of that. Did you play through the Spiral format?
I did play Spiral format. I think I played. Was it the first? I think YCS Dallas or Fort Worth. I think YCS Fort Worth was the first.
Okay.
Well, YCS with full power Spiral, like with double helix coming out, and then cherries. When the cherries come out, because that was a big thing in the mirror match. You cherries the helix, and then like their play is like pretty much done. Like they have to do some other stuff, but like
but it was really bad after. Yeah, and cherries was out for BA mirror matches too. Yeah, people see that.
I definitely played that one, and like I can say that at tournament when I didn't play a mirror match, I pretty much was good and had a good time. The only deck that I hated during that format, like that just came out, was Trickstar.
Right.
I think that was when Trickstar first became not it became a thing, but that's when it was first starting to get played. And they were doing the Joel Lockberg reincarnation.
Yep, just kill you. You don't get to play the game.
And then even if you weren't playing, like if you were playing the deck, like Joel was Joel was one of the like good hand traps for that event.
Yeah,
because Spiral searched so much.
I learned about Trickstar through one of the Yu-Gi-Oh games. It's like the one that came out on the Switch. And I was just playing it, going through the story. I made like a shitty Gravekeeper deck to go through the story because all the Gravekeepers were in Grandpa Yugi's pack. So they were easy to get. Anyway, I got up to fight some bitch with Trickstars, and this is the computer, and she set a board up on me. I was like, I can't do anything. What the fuck is this shit?
Yep.
Like, I'm just sitting here watching these Trickstars go off. I'm like, yo, her turn's been going on for 5 minutes. She's a computer. Like, what is happening? So
yeah, Trickstar is wild. And I don't like decks that naturally just burn. I think that is such a toxic mechanic, especially with the way the time rules work.
200. Yep.
Every time you draw a card, 200. Every time you play a spell, 200. Then if they get the field spell, so another 200. It's like, all right.
So the thing I hated the most, like, because I think Trickstar is up there with like one of the decks that like I just like if you're a Trickstar player, like I'm pretty sure I hate you. Like it's that kind of deck, because no matter what, like if you're playing in real life, playing on Dueling Book at the time before when Trickstars came out, anytime you do any of this stuff, and at this point we're competent, we know what your card does.
Yeah,
like we know what your card does. So I draw, they're like, you take 200, or like I do an action, I draw, you take 200, or I'm playing on Dueling Book and 200. like every time, like I'm like, y'all shut up, please. Like I know what your card does. I'm doing it automatic. I'm already doing it. I do it before I do the whatever I'm doing. You don't have to remind me every single time.
You do your math. You do it way before they have to remind you every single time.
Exactly. Like I'll do it all, because I know how many times I'm gonna search or whatever. And I'm just gonna kill you.
To them, that 200 is one less card you can play. It's one less draw you can do. So they're trying to make sure they count every single one. I get it from their perspective, but it is super annoying that every little interaction costs 200 life points to do. And then you just have to keep on typing in the calculator, and you have to keep comparing life over and over. It seems really annoying.
Oh, yeah.
But I never respected Trickstar, really. I know there was a period where people were playing Trickstar, Sky Striker, I think. And people were splashing the Trickstar engine and all types of shit. And I was like, that looks cool because you get your engage pretty easily after playing like Terraforming and Light Stage and all that. But I still just was not a fan of the idea of burning people in that kind of way, like as one of your main strategies. I'm sure that the deck did a lot more, but I wasn't a fan.
Your draw reincarnation and burn. That was literally it.
Yeah.
Like,
Life Stage is a crazy ass card though.
I think there was one other interaction. There is an FTK. Well, not FTK, but an OTK with Lily Bell and Firewall. Like back before Firewall got errata. Like
yes.
Pretty much you set it up where you keep taking the Lily Bell out of your zone and the Firewall keeps specialing it. So like you pretty much keep specialing your Lily Bell and then you just attack directly for 800. Well, 800, then minus 200 as well, because they're gonna remind you every time.
Yeah,
because they're gonna remind you every time you do something.
Yeah, like loop it back, special summon it 800. Oh, take 200 by the way. Bounce it again, special it 800. You take 200. Like it's like that. Like that was one other win condition that they did have, like the Firewall OTK, which is why Firewall got banned.
Yeah, Firewall got banned for so many reasons too.
Yeah,
that card it would be crazy right now. Like it wouldn't even. It's not even like they power. I don't think Firewall has gotten power crept by any other card since he's like his release. He's still one of the absolutely best link monsters in all of Yu-Gi-Oh. And
hands down.
So, what are your thoughts on the controversy going on right now with Maxi? So a lot of people are talking about Maxi because Crossout Designator is finally confirmed to be coming out in the TCG, and it's been available in the OCG for a while. It's basically Called by the Grave on crack. And a lot of people are begging for Maxi to come out just the way it is in the OCG. They pretty much want the same format. What are your thoughts on Maxi? Like, how do you feel about that card in the past and even now? Like, what do you think?
So, of course, in the past, I played in multiple formats where Maxi was a thing. It was in everybody's deck for the most part.
Yep.
And even at that point in time, I was fine with it. Like even though like at that time I played majority of decks that technically lost to Maxi. And like it didn't matter if they had Maxi, and they had Maxi. Depending on the situation, I was really mad they had Maxi, but like majority of the time, I either play around it or set up your board to where like you don't die or anything like that, or like they just can't capitalize fully, or like I just stop and then like they're playing a deck of special summons. I have my Maxi.
Yeah.
Like
so go back and forth.
And like I think the main decks back then where it mattered if they had Maxi, and like if you wanted to extend that, were decks that they kill you the next turn.
Yeah.
Like you're playing certain decks. Okay, I know the match. Like this game 2 or game 3, you're playing a certain deck. I'll let you draw a couple cards and make a decent sized board. But I know, like even with a couple more cards, you're not killing me, so I still have another chance to still, like take back the game and thing. Right now, like with all the build-a-board decks and stuff, and OCGs would have Maxi live for years at this point. Like they've had it back for years, and their stuff is still the same. It still can go either way. Like build-a-board decks, and like all their card pool is just insane. Like they're so creative with like how they build their decks and what they do with their decks. It's insane. And then Crossout, when I think of Maxi and Crossout Designator, I think of when Dragoon came out. Like when Dragoon was going to come out first, they're like, oh, like we can't target this card, it can't be destroyed, it pops 2 cards, you can summon it for free, anything like that. But for TCG, when Dragoon came out, that was the time that Forbidden Droplet came out at the exact same time. And I think
we have an answer to it immediately.
And like I don't think OCG had Forbidden Droplet at that time. I think if I remember correctly, they didn't have.
So it was much harder to deal with.
So we got Dragoon, which is this insanely boss monsters, one like really really good card, but we also had an out for it automatically. People didn't play it. Like people were slow to play for bench drop. It was like, there are people on the fence, but now Droplet sees a lot more play now.
Yeah,
it's an out to Dragoon, and then even before Dragoon came out, we had Dark Ruler No More, which is another out to it, and they can't even respond to that with Dragoon. So we already had answers for Dragoon automatically to where it's not that big of a deal. It's powerful, but it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
So with us confirmed getting Crossout Designator, technically, even with Call by the Grave at 1, we still have a good out to Maxi. So if it comes back, like
because you can Ash Blossom Maxi apparently, right?
You can Ash Blossom Maxi.
Yeah, you can Ash Blossom it. I guess you could Gamma it in certain situations. Like I guess if you were to go reveal Drytron activate effect, and they go chain Maxi, if you had Gamma, I think you don't have a monster on the field yet. You can chain Gamma. So there's like, Maxi definitely is punishable, but the times when it goes unopposed is probably just going to be like
right. But that's any card. Like that's powerful like that. Even like your 1-2 card combos, if you don't have your you don't have the out or the correct answer or anything to it, then you're just almost you're shut out of luck anyway.
Yeah.
It's just part of the game.
Yep. Yeah, Cross-Link Designator, it makes it where combo decks, I would assume they get even stronger because it's like Goki format where people play that midfield barrier and you can't target anything in main phase. So essentially it cut off most of the hand traps that people had back then. In like that Goki format, you couldn't do anything. And while I create my board. And so Cross-Link Designator is a card that pushes through hand traps, and you're just like, oh, you tried to, in this situation, maxi me. I'm going to play my cross out, banish a maxi from my deck. Your shit's negated. I'm going to continue with my combo, make my board off of 2 cards, probably end with a bunch of crazy nonsense that you can't deal with. GG. But I always wonder in these kind of formats, because of hindsight bias, the worst nationals for me was the one with Necrons and BA, the one that Noah Green won with BA. I played Necrons. It was awful. I talk about it all the time, but every single round, I played a bunch of anti-Necrons decks. Every deck was main decking shit to shut down Necrons. It was awful, and if I can go back, I would play BA 100% because it was unaffected by all of the nonsense that people were main decking for Necrons, like anti-spell fragrance and skill drain doesn't really do much against BA, and all that stuff. Like, there's just a ton of cards that just suck. Like Thunder King is awful against BA, and people were main decking all of this shit, right? But if I can go back and play BA, I probably would top that event really easily and might even be sitting across from Noah in the finals because the deck was that good for that event. I wonder in current Yu-Gi-Oh, and I think about this all the time, if there is a deck right now that is largely unaffected by the crazy number of hand traps people are playing, like it can just almost make them useless and make them bad draws. That would be so good if that was a thing. And I'm not sure if a deck like that exists outside of maybe that Eldritch deck. I assume that deck probably can't get hand trapped too much because it's just like, what am I even doing for you to respond to?
Right.
But then those decks tend to not be that good, and I don't see myself playing a deck that goes first and doesn't do anything crazy just so that I can dodge everyone else's hand trap. So it's like a catch-22 right now. I feel like.
I think like at this point the Elder deck is definitely like it's a decent deck. Like it doesn't lose. Like the only hand traps it really lose to is like Ash and Bell. Like those are really like the main ones that it really loses to. But it loses to other stuff. Like are we talking about like Storm or Twister?
Yeah. They get red rebooted and somebody goes, "I'm gonna kill you this turn." It's like, well, yeah, I'm dead.
I think like the biggest, like the first time that Elder came out when they were playing like the synchro version. I don't know if you've seen it, but like they had the synchro version when that was when Magician Souls that first came out.
Okay, I wasn't around for that one, and that one I do not know much about.
Oh man, that Elder deck was crazy. You literally just synchro summon your life away. That was when Needle Fiber first came out, and like they put in that deck. Like you want to say your
what synchro were they making?
They're going into Formula. They were going into Librarian. You draw like a whole bunch of cards off of Hyper Librarian.
Damn, Librarian came back for competitive. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, like it came back and it was in a couple decks. It was in an Infernoble Night deck. That I actually played that deck with Hyper Librarian at the first Remote Duel Invitational. Like I got invited to play in that, and I played the Infernoble Night deck and it played Hyper Librarian, and I had like a little draw card combo with Librarian.
Yeah, I never knew that Librarian was ever playable again.
Like it's not as much now because it's definitely link heavy right now, but it made a return in the last couple of years. Damn.
So have you been a remote duel player, I guess, throughout this pandemic? Like you've been that's been your thing?
No.
Nah.
No, I think I can count on. I literally can count on one hand. I'm like how many remote duels I've played in. I played in the first one I ever did was the Remote Duel Invitational. That was like right in that summer, like right after the pandemic hit.
2020 summer.
Like that was the first one, the big thing. Like they did the production. They sent all 16 players, like all the stream equipment and stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, like that was fun. That was really, really fun. I enjoyed it.
Question for you. So they send you guys stream equipment. Do you have to send it back to them at some point?
Oh, 100%. Like
okay, I just wanted to
like literally like they said at dinner, like, oh, like we sending you all this stuff. Congratulations, like thank y'all for playing everything. Literally, like they told us, and then they sent a little paper that's like, all right, you got 2 days, send the shit back.
Damn.
Like they would take a picture, put it back how we gave it to you, like in the same boxes and everything. Send me my shit. That's pretty much what the letter said.
Send me my shit.
Send me my shit.
At all. Their stream equipment back. What did they even send you guys to set up? Like, I'm curious.
Well, like they sent us they sent us like 2 Logitech webcams, like one for your face, like if you had the feature match. They sent one for your face, one to look down on your field. They had the the boom stand to put the webcam on. Yeah. They sent you like a light, so you know they can see your face, and you're all shining all bright and everything. I was very shiny in my I was very, very shiny in my.
Well, you know we like to moisturize, so
yeah. Like they sent us a headset that I actually don't have to hold up to my head. They sent us a lot of good stuff, like they sandbags to make sure the mic didn't fall, like the boom stand didn't fall.
Oh damn!
Like they sent us a lot of stuff. Like they sent us a lot of like high quality stuff.
Damn,
yeah, but you prefer the in-person dueling no matter what. Obviously,
100%. Because it's a lot of stuff that you can tell from your, like you can do like with your opponent or to your opponent, like in person.
Yes, I agree.
Like different tells you can pick up on, especially like reading their face, seeing like they draw a card, like do the
language.
The body language. Body language is a big thing.
It is.
Also, if one of them motherfuckers are a magician on the side, like you can't cut their deck.
And you're not allowed to record it either.
Oh yeah,
dude. I was going to bring that up because I remember somebody sent us a letter before, but that's still a thing? Like you can't record the match?
Yeah, but you're not allowed to record the match at all.
I don't understand that.
Still don't.
Yeah,
you should be able to. Recording the match allows us to go back and watch the footage and be like, oh no, he cheated right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what I mean, like.
Yeah, and then like I remember like the one for Europe, like it was literally blatant. Like he was like, all right, play infinite impermanence. Like of course you play in that column, like all for both players. Anything else that's played, any spell on track that's played in that column is negated. So he's like infinite impermanence your thing. Oh, all right, play Zodiac Barrage, continuous spell. Like as effect pops itself and then summons a Zodiac. Plays it in the same zone as his impermanence. Takes his hand off, then moves it to the side, and then goes Barrage effect. And then the dude's like, yo, you played it in the impermanence zone. He's like, no, I didn't. I played it right here.
And it's so blatant. He just moved it. I saw the video. He like moves it to the side. It's so funny.
It took him 5 seconds to move it too.
Yeah, it was blatant.
It was very like it was bad. Like the judge got involved in everything. Judge didn't do anything and stuff like. And then the dude was like, yo, I got like even if it risked him being banned, like for pretty much going against the rules and stuff, he literally had like, hey, even if I get banned, like I don't care if I get banned for this. This dude is cheating. The footage is right here.
Yep. Yeah. I fuck with that though. I'm glad that he did that.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy. Right, it's like in chess, right? Like if you move your piece, if you take your fingers off your piece, like you moved your piece.
Right.
Like you put the thing down and it took 5 seconds. He played that card.
100%. Like everyone, like it's a big thing. It's a big thing on Zodiac Duel is like a big thread about it, and everybody is literally going in on the dude.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there's other stories of people cheating in remote duels that are just crazy. Like people are going to cheat regardless. They're going to try to do it in person. They're going to try to do it in remote duels. They're going to try to do it in every possible way. But I feel like remote duels almost promote it. Because you are somewhat removing opportunity for people to be caught. I guess wholly removing the opportunity for people to be caught.
The simple fact of cutting your opponent's deck makes it like it's actually not that hard to stack one card. It's really easy to stack one card. Like, you can shuffle your deck in a way where you always keep a certain card right on the bottom, and then right at the end of your shuffle, put it on top. And it's easy.
At one point, Kenny, you were actually learning how to do magic and stuff like that, right? Like sleight of hand.
I know how to do sleight of hand.
Years ago.
Yeah. I wasn't. I know, but no. Frazier's right. If I wanted to, right, and I've never done it in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
But even if I wanted to do it in Yu-Gi-Oh, your opponent has the option to cut and shuffle your deck. You know, there's no real way to do it, unless you're fucking sliding cards up your sleeve for for some crazy shit.
But in a remote duel setting, you probably gotta have shit under your table. Like,
my point is, in remote duel, like if I have, I'm just gonna use pot of greed. I know pot of greed's never legal, but let's say I just for whatever reason wanted pot of greed. I could shuffle my deck in a way, and it's indistinguishable. Like you looking at it, you'd never be able to tell that I'm controlling where pot of greed is. Right. And then as soon as I'm done my shuffle, I can boom end it. And pot of greed's on the top of my deck. Now my opponent in person can cut my deck, shuffle my deck, whatever.
Power shuffle, they do whatever they want.
Yeah, but if I'm just at my fucking house, there's nothing you can do. You can't stop me from having Pot of Greed or whatever other card I want on top of my deck.
Right.
There's nothing you can do.
I just think 90% of these problems are solved by having recordings at the very least, because that way you could play it back and be like, oh, wait.
They're also solved by just having Dueling Book. Like, I know Dueling Book's not official, but I don't understand how people in their basement can create things like Dueling Book and Dueling Network, and Konami shuts it down, and they haven't created, like,
they're coming out with that
alternative
Master Duel thing, but we don't know what the fuck that's going to be.
We don't know what that's going to be. Also, why is it taking so long? Like,
I don't know.
People in their basements made Dueling.
First of all, it shouldn't have taken a pandemic. Like Master Duel should have been created long. It shouldn't have taken the world to shut down for them to create a platform like Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering Online, where Yu-Gi-Oh players who do not wish to travel to play in person can literally just buy virtual cards, and I'm sure it will be a ton of money for Konami as well, because Hearthstone makes
Pokemon
a killing.
does it too.
Yeah, so pretty much every legitimate card game has a online way to play, except Yu-Gi-Oh. And when I say online way to play, I mean official online way to play, not YGO Pro and not Dueling Book. But Master Duel, maybe it'll be something good. I'm optimistic. I'm hoping. There's a lot of ways to mess it up, but I'm just gonna hope to God that they do it right, make it where you can be competitive in that. Maybe have YCSs on that, and we don't have to worry so much about people cheating because the system might automate most things, and that'll hopefully cut down on a lot of it.
Right.
So I got a random question. So you've traveled a lot. You've been to a lot of events, right? So you've topped /1 up to 20 events, but I assume you've been to, even more.
Oh, yeah.
So out of all of those events and the different places you've traveled and visited, is there any place that you really enjoyed the most? Like when you think about like, man, I really enjoyed going here. Like this event was really cool, or the scenery was cool, or like, whatever was part of that trip.
All right. So I think out of all the events I've been to, like even YCS's ARGs or even regionals, and so I really do. I enjoy Florida just like because it's so close, and I have a lot of friends that's down in Florida. Yeah, Florida's a really good one. And like the weather's always nice, and we always dodge hurricane season whenever we go to an event there. so that's a plus. Like I love Florida.
You wouldn't want to live there because
oh God no. God no.
I can't deal with Florida heat. I have a lot of family in Florida, but that 100-degree weather and it's also humid. Nope.
What's another place? Canada was very nice.
I've heard. I haven't been to Canada yet. I've heard from everybody whenever there's an event like a fighting game event or whatever in Canada, like they always love it.
Oh, I think I've been to Canada 3 times.
Toronto.
I've been to Canada all 3 times. All 3 were illegal. Don't tell nobody. But but I enjoyed Toronto. Like to the tour in Toronto. So we definitely saw Drake. That was also a highlight.
Okay.
We didn't see Drake, but
I was all happy for you and shit.
I was gonna say, that's pretty dope. You got to go to a Drake concert in his hometown.
he was probably somewhere in the vicinity. He might have been, maybe.
Hell yeah!
But hey, no, I can just say nobody would know.
That's true.
Unless they listen to this, then they know that.
You draw snitched on yourself.
No, but Toronto was fun, and then even the one in Niagara. Niagara was really, really nice. And then seeing the actual like falls and stuff like that. That was all beautiful. Like the biggest thing that I take from doing Yu-Gi-Oh, I want to go on trips. It's not just sitting in a hotel, going to the event, and like just playing Yu-Gi-Oh all weekend. It's going to do different stuff, like going to eat at different restaurants, seeing different sites and everything, whatever is local. I think also like this comes with another one. I think I love California. California's also
me too. Oh my God, I was going to say it if you didn't say it. I love Cali.
I think the YCS Pasadena in 2019. That when I went to that actually happened on the weekend of my birthday. And then like fun fact, me and Frazier have actually the same exact birthday. Like month that year. Like we have the exact same birthday. So so that weekend, I like of course we went to the venue and stuff. Like of course YCS, you go there Friday. You can pre-register, you can go buy cards, meet up with some friends, turn your deck list in. Literally, my plan was me, my friend Patrick James, a player in the game, like very, very close friend.
Same for me.
Yeah, very, very, very close friend. We literally went Friday. Like we didn't bring any cards. We went, turned in my deck list. I'm like, I don't care what's going on. This was playing the Cyber Dragon deck, and I think that was like one of my most dominant decks in the game.
Yeah, you knew you were going to play that deck, and that there was no changing your mind if you fucking gave your deck list in on a Friday.
I turned it in Friday. I already had everything laid out. Talked to my people. Did this like, all right, might play this, might play that. All right, got to cover. Bam. Turn the deck list in. No cards, no trading, no buying other cards or anything.
Yep.
Me and him, after we turned it in, we literally hopped in an Uber, went to the Staples Center, and watched the Clippers and the Heat. I mean, not Clippers, the Heat. Clippers and the Rockets played. That's Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and then that was when James Harden and Russell Westbrook were on the Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
And when I said we were close, we were close. Like the tickets weren't even expensive. They were like $100, $150.
No, damn, I would definitely pay that.
Yeah, we were behind the goal, about maybe 12 seats up. We could see all the players clearly. Like, very fun event. Meek Mill was like in the corner. We could see all of his diamonds in his chain and stuff. Roddy Ricch performed at halftime. When I say it was a fun ass event, it was fun.
Yeah, that's dope because you got to go there because of Yu-Gi-Oh, right? You traveled all these places, but outside of Yu-Gi-Oh, you have a really fun experience and story and memory that you can tell to anybody, even if they don't know Yu-Gi-Oh, right? You're like, I went here, I went to this game.
Yeah, definitely. It's because even though we're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, it's for Yu-Gi-Oh, but your trips aren't about Yu-Gi-Oh. It's weird, but like that's how it goes. That's why you have the most fun. All the people that go to these events, if they win or if they don't win, the biggest thing that they're gonna remember is what they did during that weekend. Like 100%.
Some of the most fun at Yu-Gi-Oh events I've had is after the event, like you guys were saying earlier, but after the event when you guys all go to a restaurant and hang out and talk shit. Like that's some of the most fun you have.
I love that. Usually because I don't eat during events either. So
there's no eating involved.
Yeah. I also my stomach is in such fucking knots usually when I'm trying to play that I can't even eat if I wanted to. Like I'll usually have at most some kind of chocolate or candy. But I can't eat like a full meal in the middle of a tournament. I don't know. My stomach just would not allow that.
Yeah. So now I got to ask, because you went to this game, and I've been wanting to ask this since the podcast started. So if you can't see this and you're listening, my man has a jersey and a frame on his wall, and I need to know what, because of the glare, I can't tell what it is. So I need to know the story behind this jersey.
So this jersey is actually from the first Yu-Gi-Oh team that I was on, which is the Card Guys.
I remember the Card Guys, yeah.
That's one of our jerseys. I think that's the third jersey that we did. The first jersey that we did, if you're looking at the video, is the one on Kenny's screen with the red, black, and white with majority white.
Okay, yeah. So you got the red, black, and white, and you got the straw hat on.
Oh yeah,
so that was your first jersey.
That was the first jersey for the team, and then the second jersey that we ended up getting was, like, of course, red, black, and white, but the jersey was all black. Like all black with like the red and white and red, white, black stripes. We debuted that jersey at YCS Atlanta. Like, who won that one? That was a Pendulum.
I was going to say Frazier won that one.
I got third at that Atlanta. That was the one where I think Jose. won.
Jose Lagunas. Yeah,
it was Jose versus Tommy Rowe, and I got third. And I think some Cosmo guy got fourth.
Yuri.
Yes, because I remember he let me go first game 3. And I summoned Cyber Infinity, 4 counter traps, another back row that was Twin Twister. I had a Twin Twister in my hand, and I had like a full hand too. And I was like, all right, go ahead. And he like summoned Cyber Dragon, and I was like, Chaos Trap Hole. And then he summons a Cosmo Tenkan, sets some back rows, and goes to end phase. I'm like, okay, there's a lot that's about to happen. I was like, I'm going to Twin Twister both your back row. And are you activating Tenkan? He's like, yes. I'm like, I'm going to activate Cyber Infinity. And then he's like, I'm going to tag it out. And I'm like, I'm going to chain strike. Now you have no cards on the field at all. I'm going to draw and I'm going to kill you. And I want a prize card. Got my $1,000 and I'm left.
That's the thing I'm mad about. Like, just real quick. I think the highest, like, outside of course winning the ARGs, 1,500 is nice. Like, that's nice anyway. Like, no matter how you get it, but when I got fourth in YCS Toronto, I was one game away. Actually, I was one game away from getting into the finals. That's number one. And then after I lost on that one, I lost to Chris LeBlanc, who ended up winning the event.
Yeah.
And then I was one away from getting into the finals to have the chance to win a YCS, my first YCS.
Damn.
But then also I was one win away from getting a prize card.
Yeah. So I got a prize card the very first topic, obviously, because I won, but then I didn't get a prize card for a fucking long time after that. And that was like annoying to me. Like I wanted to get more because I remember at the time, like McCabe, especially, he would get every time he topped, he would go like fucking deep.
Right.
And he would always get like a prize card, and they would be so much money. And when I was younger, I wanted the money. Like I was like, I want this fucking money. Like, god damn it. Like it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, I got second. Like I'll pass on a second, but I want that damn money.
Right.
And it just eluded me for so long. But then 2016, I got that Minerva, and I was like, thank God. Like here we go.
Oh yeah, Minerva's nice. If you hit onto it, Minerva is crazy right now.
I sold it for 1,000. I sold it for 950 to be exact.
I can't even remember the price of it right now, but Minerva is. I want to throw a number out because I think that's the last.
It's a couple thousand. I know that.
Yeah, it's insane. All of them are insane.
Yeah, I won it in 2016, so I would have had to be holding it for 5 years. Which, I mean, honestly, even when I sold it, it's not like I needed $1,000, but I also didn't see myself holding prize cards because at that time in Yu-Gi-Oh, that was when prize cards kept going down in value over time. Like we didn't know that the market would ever get this crazy, where cards are just worth so much. And so like every event that passes, there's more Minervas being printed. Then I believe the Nationals of 2016, they gave out the entire top 32 got Minervas. So then like that, and people were selling their Minervas for $450, $400. So the price went even lower after I won it. So I would have had to have held it through all of the price decreases and then wait 5 years to finally see like a crazy return on it, which, whatever, like you live and you learn.
Right.
But if I can go back, I wouldn't have sold a single card because of how crazy the market is. I would have never sold a card in my life.
You'd be retired at this point.
Yes, I would have retired off of my collection because that's just how absurd. Like I had a lot of good cards back then. I even though I'm a competitive person, I always had a crazy ass binder or 3.
Or 3.
Yeah.
And like real quick, it's great. Josh Bavard, like one of the judges right now. He bought a house off of his collection.
I'm not surprised at all. Anybody who held old Yu-Gi-Oh cards, if you were a collector, and there's a lot of them, they're eating nicely right now. They're eating very, very nice. But let's pivot over to outside of Yu-Gi-Oh. So, because I assume that you're also pretty much a nerd like us, where you like anime and video games and stuff like that. I'm going to read. I'm just going to say a couple of things, and you say the first one that you agree with or that comes to mind. So, Naruto or Sasuke?
Oh, so Sasuke definitely is the more broken of the character, like aesthetic wise, like his demeanor, like his movesets and everything. I kind of resonate more with Naruto because of, like,
the underdog.
An underdog, sad boy thing. Like, growing up, I felt like that was me. Growing up, I felt like I was the underdog in a lot of stuff. Like I was younger, like I wasn't the best person. It's like I was good at a lot of stuff, but like I always wanted to be the best. Like my biggest thing that like my dad taught me growing up was, hey, you're number one, you're the best. No matter what you do, you need to strive to be number one. You need to strive to be the best at it. And that's what I took at in life, even though like I wasn't where I wanted to be in certain aspects, but I was always striving to become that best person. Like even if I was the underdog, I was going to strive to be number one, Okage or anything like that.
What the hell was that?
That was
the ukulele.
The ukulele just fell.
Wow. Ukulele made a cameo.
It just fucking fell. I apologize.
No, but I like Sasuke is awesome, but I'm more of a Naruto.
Okay. Yagami light or L?
Light. Yeah, light, definitely.
Okay, good. We're good there. Goku or Vegeta? Goku?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, this isn't two people from the same anime, but Naruto or Ichigo?
So who win in the fight? Just like
which one do you like?
Whichever one, you can answer both ways. Whichever one you want. Who do you think would win in a fight, and who do you like more?
There we go. It's good questions now. Oh man, I think it's still more Naruto.
Okay.
I think I still resonate with Naruto more on that, but the fighting aspect of it is crazy because just where their powers go in both anime, like it's like they're both insanely broken and they get broken quick. Like, oh man, I think I still pick Naruto in this.
Yeah, that's fine. Aizen or Madara?
Madara.
Okay.
Madara is insane.
Madara is insane.
Yes.
Let's see. Frieza or Cell?
Oh, Frieza, 100%. So like people that know me, they know like what I like. I am heavy, like it. Like you can look at me and I walk up to you and like, hey, what's up, man? I am heavy into anime. Like
Yeah.
like 100%. Like I love anime like 100%. Like that is my go-to on everything.
Okay, so you must love this podcast then.
Oh yeah, like that, like first, like when I saw y'all post about the first episode, I tuned in because I work an hour away from home, so I have an hour drive there, hour drive back.
This is great for that.
Yeah, so I waited a couple episodes in. So first episode, y'all started talking to them. I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. My drives are fine.
You remember those Toonami days?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like my drives were fine. Like in every single episode, I'm like, yep, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you on that. Like every single thing y'all talked about, it's had some effect on me.
Yeah, some experience with it, and you know about it too.
Yeah, I think my first anime was DBZ. Well, yeah, first anime was DBZ.
Most people,
and then actually in all of DBZ, like DBZ, Dragon Ball Super, Frieza actually is my favorite villain.
Okay,
Frieza,
you talk about Frieza throughout the whole thing.
Frieza is my favorite villain.
Yeah, Frieza is a super iconic villain. What were you going to say, Kenny?
In terms of Frieza?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say something, but
I was going to say Frieza's sick. In terms of DBZ, Frieza's definitely the most well-written villain and just the coolest villain. Like Cell's dope as shit, but
oh yeah,
I really do love Frieza. In terms of the DBZ villains, I think Frieza's my favorite. My favorite villain for all of DBZ, that's tough. It's probably this is crazy. I guess it's not DBZ, but Dragon Ball. I fucking love the Piccolo Jr. Like when we first get after King Piccolo, and the Piccolo that we all know now, back then was always referred to as Piccolo Jr. That whole arc and his whole setup, I was so into it, and they had some really, really good Goku moments in there. So I think I remember Piccolo Jr. arc the most fondly, but Frieza's up there.
Yeah, Frieza's the shit.
Oh yeah.
Gon or Killua?
Killua.
Damn.
And then Killua was just too dope. Like
yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm a huge Killua fan.
Killua sick. When Killua goes Super Saiyan 2, you gotta remember that? Killua straight goes Super Saiyan 2 straight the fuck up.
Oh my god. I remember that episode that when he did, I'm like, oh my god. Like he went off on that episode.
Do you watch My Hero or are you into My Hero?
I am. I'm current in My Hero.
Okay, so
current anime current or manga current?
We'll say a little bit. Like I'm definitely current anime. With certain anime that I really get into, there's two things that happen manga wise. I'll either kind of spoil myself with like I watch a lot of YouTube as well too. So like with certain stuff that I watch anime wise, like of course those videos pop up like what's going on in this in the manga or whatever. So for certain anime, I've been spoiled on like what happens.
Yeah.
Like what happens later on. So like I know like where they're going right now in My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
But anime wise, I am caught up on the anime.
Nice. Okay, so My Villain Academia. Yes, I was going to say Izuku, Shoto, or Bakugo.
I like Shoto.
You like Shoto Todoroki? Okay, that's I like Bakugo too. I don't know. Out of the three of them, I like them so much. Shoto was probably third for me. At first he started off as being like the coolest one or whatever. Obviously, that's how they make him. But over time, I started to grow to respect Bakugo so fucking much after finding out that
he's such a good character.
He's so well written to me because you don't know that he's this huge All Might fan until like so late. And that just changed the entire way I think about him because he's been jealous of Midoriya for being like close to All Might and everything, which makes a lot of sense.
Right.
But I love Bakugo.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I definitely like all three. It's just like all of them have their like different strengths and weaknesses and stuff, like their different character traits. Just like with Shoto, I think when I started really liking Shoto was the pretty much like the tournament arc, the festival arc.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the festival arc when him and Midoriya were fighting, and he's sitting there fighting, and he's refusing to use his left, like because like the thing that happened with
his dad.
Yeah, like with his dad and his mom, like I'll never use the side.
Yeah, I'll fuck with that. Stand on something.
But then like Midoriya was like, "Hey, it's your power. Like use it."
And then also he was like, "You better take us fucking seriously. Like you think you can do this with half your power?"
Yeah.
No, yeah. Like and then they were going tit for tat, but then like when he let that left side go because he was freezing over. He let that left side go, and then like that beautiful ass animation, like he does the impact and stuff, like when he does the heat and the cold. Like, cause he did like the ice part. Then he raises the hand, And then like all the particle effects and the explosion, I'm like, oh my god! Like I was literally thinking, I'm like, this looks so fucking good.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that. That
so
shit was epic.
good.
That's one of the things that got me into My Hero, is seeing that scene before I started watching it. You know how it's always that one clip that just keeps going around for an anime that you don't know about yet or that you're not into yet. You keep seeing it too much, and then eventually you're into it.
Oh yeah,
that's how I got one of my boys in the One Piece. He forever was just like not in the One Piece, and then one day he saw me watching Luffy versus Blueno. It was the first time Luffy goes year second, and he goes and he's looking at my computer and he's like, "Yo, let me get One Piece." He's like, "Put that on my hard drive," and I was like, "I got you, I got you." Like it was real subtle. Like he didn't really say much else. He just like was standing behind my computer with his arms crossed. He watched the first Gear Second fight, and he's like, "Yo, can you put One Piece on my hard drive?" I was like, "I got you."
What's your top 5 anime, Blair? Like, what are your favorite anime? I know this is kind of a hard question, but
they don't got to be in order. But
yeah, they don't have to be in any particular order. Just like your 5 favorite, like the ones that have the biggest impression on you, the ones that if you could not watch any other anime ever again, it's only these 5. What would the 5 be?
Okay, so I didn't know. I never done 3 of them off rip. So DBZ, because that's what I grew up with.
Okay,
almost everyone like around our age. That's what started them, or either that or Dragon Ball. Like they started with some iteration with that. One that's very obscure, like that's not obscure, of course. It was Toonami. Like when Toonami came on, I was a big Cartoon Network person, so I watched Cartoon Network anyway. Then when Toonami started coming on, I'm like, all right, this is something new, something different I haven't really seen, and it started catching my interest. So Trigun.
Yes.
Yeah, Trigun is one. I love Trigun. Like Vaster Stampede is one of my favorite characters.
Trigun is sick.
Yeah. I can say that. I can say that's my number one. Like DBZ is definitely up there. Like it is my favorite, but like my number one favorite anime, honestly. Like this is going to the third one. Like, but it's my number one is Outlaw Star.
Oh my god, let's
Outlaw
go.
Star.
Outlaw Star is
that was another Toonami one too.
Yeah, that was like
Outlaw Star is the shit.
Yes, Outlaw Star is
my man like Gene Starwood.
I've only seen it once, but I remember it being really fucking good.
Oh yeah, I watched that once, maybe like every couple months. I binge watched the whole thing like every couple months. Like
that's me with Death Note.
So I have to ask. You mentioned Trigun and Outlaw Star, so you have to also like Cowboy Bebop.
I know, but that's up there too.
Yeah, there's no way you don't like, because I feel like those 3 anime. I don't know, for something about them were just linked to me. Like Trigun, Outlaw Star, and Cowboy Bebop. I don't know, like those 3
guns, space.
They're just similar. They're just really similar, and I get really good vibes watching all 3 of them.
Oh yeah, all the time. Like those were like all in rotation. Toonami, like when Toonami came on, like they were always on playing and stuff. And then even when it moved to Adult Swim, like they were still playing it on there, and that of course they might start playing like the more uncensored stuff for the most part, but they're always I love them.
So we got DBZ, Trigun, and Outlaw Star. All right.
Cowboy Bebop is
okay. All right. Let's that one. Number 4.
The fifth one.
Now, 5th. This is the last anime that if you can't watch any more anime for the rest of your life, you can put this one in here, and it's cemented for you.
I would say Tenchi Muyo, honestly.
Tenchi, damn.
My man is Toonami all day.
Yeah, you are. You need a fucking Toonami sponsorship for that list you just gave.
Like Toonami list, baby.
Like Toonami was one of the biggest reasons that honestly like got me big into anime. Then of course,
Tenchi is sick, man. Tenchi is sick. What's crazy about Tenchi is that my first harem anime I've ever seen. But it was dope, and I also I feel like it doesn't get mentioned as much anymore. People don't usually talk about it, but that was really big on Toonami as well.
Yeah, it was.
And like all the different seasons. I think on Toonami, I think the highest they got, if I remember correctly, was Tenchi in Tokyo. I think that was the highest they got on Toonami, I believe.
A lot of Tenchi.
But, there's a lot more past that, but I know I think that was the highest.
Let me some Tenchi back in the day. Ryoku. That was when all my anime was in English. I didn't know anything about Japanese anime at the time. I was a dub boy.
I to this day, Outlaw Star, Trigun, and Cowboy Bebop specifically, to this day, every time I rewatch them, I still watch them in English. I really like their dubs. I grew up with their dubs, so I watch all 3 of those in English like all the time.
I think that's the biggest thing too, because it shows a lot. Because the older anime, especially the ones that we grew up with, even with bias or not, we'll watch those. We'll still watch those in dub, but the newer ones, like for us, you really can't stomach it. You really can't stomach the dub on that because like Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, all those, their dubs were done so well.
I agree.
Their voice actors were so perfect, and it fit those characters. Like you look at Spike Spiegel, and you hear his voice actor talk like for the dub. You're like, yeah, that's Spike. Like if
that's
I was
Spike,
Spike, that's how Spike would sound. But then you go to some recent and like say you're watching My Hero Academia in dub, and you hear Midoriya talking, you're like, that's not it. And especially if you watch the sub first and you hear how his voice is in the sub, which is the voice actor for Midoriya does amazing. But then you go to the dub and Midoriya is like, even if I didn't hear the sub version first,
you would still not like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Another problem I have with dubs nowadays is that now look, I love Chris Sabat. Chris Sabat, I think, is a great voice actor. However, because so many dubs, because Funimation has sort of won the war on licensing anime, they get so many dubs. You hear Chris Sabat's voice on a lot of things that, in my opinion, don't really fit. And I'm like, I love Chris Sabat. I think you're a great voice actor, but some of these characters you're voicing, I just don't agree with. Like, I don't think you fit this character.
Right.
So that's unfortunate. They don't have the number of different voice actors here as they do in Japan.
Yeah.
Oh, a big thing for like the older anime as well too. Like Johnny Young Bosch, who used to be was the Black Ranger in Power Rangers.
The second Black Power Ranger. He does
a lot of like the older ones. He did a lot of dub.
Yeah,
like, he did a lot of dub voice. Like I think one of the most notable ones definitely was Ichigo. Like him doing the dub voice for Ichigo in Bleach.
And I realized that, by the way, when I was like, wait a minute. Ichigo's dub voice is the second Black Ranger? Holy shit.
and he has a lot of stuff in his catalog. Like a lot of anime. Like a lot of work on different animes in his catalog.
Yeah, dude, like Naruto's English voice. I'll never forget. Naruto's English voice is like this just lady that does work on Disney Channel or something.
Wait, Naruto's English voice actor is a woman?
Yeah. So it's I remember my little brother, he was watching like some random show on Disney Channel. It was like some high school show in Disney Channel. And I'm hearing this like voice. And I know it's not Naruto because they're like talking about fucking the school dance or something. But I'm listening, I'm like, that's Naruto. Like I'm listening to the voice.
Like blatantly.
I go into the room and I'm like, what are you watching? And he tells me, and I'm looking at it, I'm listening to this lady talk. And I was like, what's her name? Like, what's the character's name? He told me the character's name. I go look it up. And I was like, holy shit, that's Naruto's voice actor. Like, so random.
If you could have a power from any anime, what would it be, Blair?
Flight, 100%.
You would just want to fly?
Yeah, like of course all the other like shooting lasers. I think it'd be definitely the energy blast, but I think flight is a superpower that's been something that I've always like that grabbed me for the most part. So
you want to be free. You just want to be able to like
go
at any moment, be anywhere at any time. You just kind of want to fly around in the open skies.
That's everything. I think it stemmed basically from, of course, Dragon Ball Z, like especially Dragon Ball Z, like when they started flying and stuff, like that kind of like all the waves and stuff, all the transformation, Super Saiyan. I think Super Saiyan probably number 2, if anything like that. But flight's definitely number 1, 100%.
So you've been wanting to fly for a while, and that must be like a thing.
Oh yeah.
Because people don't just say flight if they don't have daydreams of just staring at the birds out in the sky. Like, I wish.
When I was a kid, like kid, I remember when I was really little, I went to a Catholic school, and every now and then they'd like force you to go to church. I remember sitting in the church, they're talking about whatever, and I was literally, I would daydream about Goku crashing in through the ceiling and being like, "We need you," and you were saying you didn't know, and then he grabs me, and we fly through the ceiling, and then I go off and fight Frieza and shit, and he trains me.
More exciting than church, so I'm.
Yeah, dude, I remember because like I ain't got time. I would be in there so bored. I do not.
Me too. I usually fall asleep,
and I'm sitting there just thinking. I remember I would look at the stained glass, and I would invent stories because the stained glass windows would have like different pictures on them.
Oh yeah, they would have battles and all types of shit.
And I would invent stories of me in those pictures. It's me, whoever else is in the glass window, and Goku. Like, so I feel you on that.
What's jumping back to Yu-Gi-Oh a little bit here? What's your like dream ban list if you had to say right now? Like, what do you want done to the game? How would Blair balance current Yu-Gi-Oh that's gotten so crazy.
Oh God. Oh.
He'd bring back original
what needs
print.
to go? What are you gonna do to hit Dragoons? What are you gonna do to hit some of these ridiculous combos and
Bring
stuff?
back original print Chaos Emperor.
Oh Lord. So the funny thing, like talking about ban lists, when you talk about cards like Dragoon, Firewall, like other powerful cards like that, majority of the time before they deal with that card, there's always innocent bystanders.
Yes.
They get in the way. Like just like for instance, real quick, like before Firewall actually got banned, they hit like a whole bunch of they hit a Assault Core, which is like one of the pieces in the ABC deck. I think they hit it to one of it. I think they banned it actually. So which means if you're an ABC player, you can't even play your ABC deck because your A is gone. So
you're literally missing a whole piece.
You can't make your boss monster in your deck as like an innocent bystander. So like if I was thinking about it, to hit Dragoon without actually hitting Dragoon, you either have to hit Red Eyes Fusion, but that hits all the like there's other Red Eyes Fusion monsters that isn't Dragoon, so those wouldn't be playable unless you play Poly and like you have the cards in your hand.
Yeah,
you'd either have to hit Verte Anaconda, which hits all the other fusion stuff. Like that's not Dragoon.
Or you could just hit Dragoon itself.
Exactly, but that's too easy. Like that's the cop out.
I hate the fact that all of us are so conditioned by how ban lists have been done in the past that we just accept the fact that the most roundabout way is probably what's going to happen. Instead of just fucking hitting Dragoon itself, like this card is now banned. You cannot play this card anymore. We'd rather hit everything else. They will ban Red Eyes before they fucking ban the actual Dragoon. Like Red Eyes will just be on the ban list. Like Red Eyes and Dark Magician are banned.
And then even with that, they still kills the Red Eyes deck and the Dark Magician deck.
Yeah, like which the Dark Magician deck has some crazy support coming out too.
It does. I think like with that, they'd be like the last thing on their list because
they'll never ban Dark Magician. I'm gonna put that out there right now. That would be a crime.
Oh yeah. Like they would lose like majority of their like play.
Oh, that would be a crime if they did that.
Oh yeah, like it's not even the people that play Dark just like the nostalgia of like Dark Magician being what it is. Like you're taking away part of their like what they know of the game, what they love of the game, or whatever got them into the game first. But that question is rough. Like looking at like the easy way would be hitting Dragoon.
Yeah. What else do you think needs to happen though?
I'm trying to think of other ways to not just ban cards, but like what cards you could bring back outside of Maxi, because we know that's the thing. What's some older cards?
In this ideal scenario, are you trying to slow Yu-Gi-Oh down, or are you cool with Yu-Gi-Oh being what it is now?
Majority of times, like when they try to when they slow the game down, like when they took out like when Dragon Rulers finally got hit like the second time, like the game slowed down a little bit, and they also let more decks be able to see more play.
Yeah.
So it's 2014. It wasn't just it wasn't a triangle format or this is the best deck. If you're not playing this, you're gonna lose format. There was in 2014 it was like 5 different decks that you could play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
And all of them had different representation and everything. I'm trying to think of what's another format that is. I think this format's kind of like that, where it's like there's a whole bunch of different decks that can that see play that can top as well.
Yeah, I definitely feel like everything is viable to some degree.
Yeah, but all of them really don't have like a card in common that they all play that was slow.
Exactly.
Except for Dragoon. That is
the biggest. That's why I always go to that first, because Dragoon seems to be the biggest offender because every deck can make it.
Mm-hmm.
But then all the other decks, they have like Drytron, for example. It's so many cards that only Drytron plays.
Mm-hmm.
Like no other deck is playing Herald of the Diviner of Herald and Orange Light and Ava and Beatrice, and then you got the Phantom Knight deck, like Phantom Knight BA, and it's playing a bunch of those cards that no one else is playing, Fogblade and all of the Phantom Knight Silent Boots and the Greaves and stuff. And you have the Tri-Brigade deck that's playing like Tenki and Zodiac cards, and no other deck is doing that. And then Prankid's playing all the Prankids and all those hand traps.
Right.
Parallel Exceed, again, no other deck plays any of their cards. So it's kind of, it's actually a bit hard because if you want to slow the game down or like balance it, you do have to kind of hit you have to hit so many things is what I'm saying.
Right. I think
you actually have to hit so many key pieces from these decks because all of them are so ridiculous when they go off.
Mm-hmm. But majority of the time, like for different formats, like when they slow down, like we try to slow down the format, like they take all the best decks and they do hit something in there to try and slow it down.
Yeah.
So Tri Brigade, you'd have like Tri Brigade, you can put Revolt to 1.
Yep, that would definitely hurt that deck a bit. Tenki, you can put the
mhm.
Tenki to 2 or something because I know they like doing that. Even though like I feel like pretty much everyone hates 2-ofs, but
Right.
I can see them semi-limiting Tenki or something, like that.
Yeah, like look, I think Revolt be like the best thing.
Yeah, Revolt the 1.
Yeah, because like even if you like say you hit Fractal or you hit Nerval, or like say you ban Fractal, like you still have other ways to still send your stuff to the graveyard because you have Kit, and then you have carrots that you can pitch a Kit and stuff like that. There's other ways to facilitate, but Fractal majority of times is your number 1 starter.
Yeah, it's just gonna make the deck less consistent.
Right, but Revolt the 1 would definitely be a thing because that's their recurability with their deck.
Yeah,
like they like to keep getting their searches and stuff.
What would you hit out of Drytron?
Drytron, you'd have to ban like for it to really slow down because Diviner being the 1 doesn't matter because it's searchable. It's just you don't get the extra fodder for Herald like with the Ava play. So you either hit Ava, like so you either ban Ava or you'd have to ban Benton. Like
if Benton gets banned, that deck is not playable though.
Yeah, it's not like it's playable, but it's not playable to the way it used to be. Like
it's so much worse.
But that's the really big thing. Or even I'm trying to think if you do the names as well too, like hitting any of the names.
Like Alpha is really because Alpha searches Benton, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can see them doing something like that.
Yeah, but even if you put Alpha to 1, there's other cards like they have multiple cards because that means you have to hit Cyber Emergency, which is a 3 of. The Xyz move Beta can send the Alpha to the graveyard. Yeah, they have Drytron Nova which is at 3 that special summons any of the names. Like so, you start, like hitting that, putting that to 1. It hurts you seeing it, but you have so many other cards that can get you to that
blatantly can get you to it. It's tricky. It's like I have no idea what they're going to do. I mean, these last couple of ban lists I feel like haven't really been that impactful because I feel like during the pandemic and with the whole remote duel thing, they haven't cared as much.
Right.
So the ban lists have been like, I've even seen a ban list that literally, I'm pretty sure it was like 2 or 3 cards. It was like almost nothing happened.
I think it was Jet Synchron. Like they hit Jet Synchron. I think they limited Needle Fiber, and it was 1 other card that it was like 3 cards on the list. Yeah,
literally a ban list. So yeah, Kenny, recently during the pandemic, they had a list that came out, and it was like 3 cards.
Like they just that. Oh, Block Dragon was the other card.
Okay.
I remember because the Adamantipator deck was one of the best decks during that time because that and Eula came out at the same time.
Yeah.
And that Adamantipator deck is broken. That deck plays through the Nibiru too because it's a rock.
Because
the token's a rock, so they hold Researcher. Like they do other plays first, hold Researcher. They get Nibiru because the deck gets Nibiru hard. They get Nibiru, they give them a token. The token's a rock. So now they just summon the Adamantipator Researcher, like excavate their 5 special rock, and then turn the token and then Researcher to Needle Fiber because it's a tuner.
Damn. And then they just continue going off.
Yeah, it's like nothing ever happened.
That's so bad.
And then Block Dragon, they get 3 new cards. So they either get cards to extend their play, or they build up a nice board, and then they have pretty much backup plays for the next turn if anything happens.
What do you think about Triple Tactics Talent?
That card is insane. That card, I love that card. That card is awesome. Very very overpowered because it's 3 ban cards, but
that card is fucked up.
Pot of Greed, Forceful Sentry, and Change Your Heart.
That's also one of the cards that outs Dragoon as well too, because you do one thing and then you just take it.
Yeah, that card's scary to me.
Which is why another check for Dragoon, which I can see them not hitting the Dragoon because there's so many answers to it.
Yeah, having your Dragoons get tactics is probably just game. I imagine.
Oh, it's 100% game, especially if it's at 4,000. Like that's it.
Yeah, you negated something. He's now 4,000. Take it from you. Like, all right, you're dead.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I think with tactics is since it's really good, especially for the type of format that they're playing right now. Like, because like you said, everyone's playing like 15 or so hand traps. Like a lot of your cards are 1 or 2 card starters. They stop one of your starters like with Ash, Veiler, something like that. It gives you especially if you're going first, it gives you 2 choices. Like either that might have bricked your hand, so now you need to draw 2 cards to get back in the game, or you're playing a deck where like that didn't even matter. I still have full combo. And so right now, let me look at your hand. I can look at your hand, see if you have another hand. Like if you have another hand trap, I just take it out of your hand, and then still continue my combo. Or if you don't have another hand trap, then I'm just gonna put something back.
That you need to do your play, and then you just lose anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start their turn off with 4 cards.
Like the remote duel invitational last year, the summer of 2020. I played Ryan Levine on stream for round 2. He was playing the Synchro Elder deck, and I was playing Infernoble Knights. And pretty much what Infernoble Knights do, pretty much they summon 2 warriors, make assault 2 tails of the Noble Knights. I summon a tuner, do a whole bunch of needle fiber plays, synchro plays, like with the librarian and everything. So, but the deck has infinite starters, like infinite starters.
Yeah.
I think I do my first play. He side frame Gammas it, which puts Gamma on the field, and then it puts Driver on the field. Gamma is also a tuner. Like I'm looking at my hand. My hand is still broken. I still have the exact same full combo. Dang. Like even with getting Gamma. So like I have tactics too. So I tactics look at his hand. He doesn't have another hand trap, but I see what his hand is. So I pretty much break his hand and then still full combo. Even if I needed another body, since he pretty much put a tuner on the board. And
he gave you a body too.
He gave me a body as well. So I can either make I can make Dragoon one at a time, or I take his tuner, put another body on board, and then make needle fiber, and it's still full combo.
Yeah,
like it's stuff like that. Like it's pretty much every answer to any situation, first or second.
So you like that card a lot then?
Yeah, because it's like even though like when I do my decks, I try to make it to where I have multiple lines of play. If one thing gets stopped, then pretty much the deck I play has a backup plan to at least get me to somewhere, or at least get me to the same end goal. That's just insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
that card seems nuts.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I want to. Do you have another Yu-Gi-Oh thing you want to ask, Frazier?
No. I pretty much want to know how you felt about what needs to go and like how do you hit things. But the answer is so complicated that that could be a whole different podcast, honestly, on just the Forbidden Limited list.
I was going to ask real quick. We asked you about anime. Do you have any favorite video games or game series or game genres?
Well, I can do game genre. Game genre, I like action adventure, RPGs. Like I'm big on those.
What are some examples like action adventure? What do you got in there? Like a couple examples.
A big one that I really liked was Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts was like one of my really favorite action adventure games.
Sir.
It's basically basically an RPG too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but
I
like
played every Cage. I love those games.
Oh yeah, I do too. Like I was a big Kingdom Hearts fan, and like the opening song, like just like all the opening songs.
Yeah, Simple and Clean, Sanctuary, like all of them.
Oh yeah,
like figures.
Like I'm trying to think of another action. Like it's been so long since I've gamed.
You
like
play
game like Ethan.
Like Devil May Cry.
Me and my cousin. I played with games with my cousin a lot. Like when we were younger, I used to live with him in Indiana, and like we get out from school or whatever. We go outside a little bit sometimes, but our biggest thing that we did together was literally just game. Like anything game wise. Like we started early. I think we were playing the Super Nintendo. Like my dad got me a Super Nintendo when I was really young. My cousin was big on the PlayStation side. I was more on the Nintendo side. So he would have all the PlayStation stuff. He had a PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. I'm pretty sure he had a PlayStation 3. I had the Super Nintendo. I got the N64 Christmas of '96, the year that it came out.
Yeah.
And then I also had a GameCube. I did have a Dreamcast.
That's what's up. So between you and your cousin, you guys had
shit. Yeah, that's the way to do it too.
Yeah, we hit all the areas. Like we played it strategically.
Yeah, whatever I don't got, you got to get it.
That's right.
Yeah, cover those gaps.
Action. It's I can't think. Like it's Devil May Cry. Yeah, this was. Yeah, I love the Devil May Cry series. Was awesome.
Whenever I think about Devil May Cry, I always think about God of War as well.
Oh, yeah.
They were both kind of like PlayStation 2. Those kind of beat 'em up games where you get swarmed by fucking enemies. I don't know what that type of genre is called, but that genre is really fun to me. Like when you're just swarmed by enemies and you can just go bonkers, do whatever you want, whatever your fingers can produce, you can just combo off on screen and it looks so cool.
Oh yeah, like God of War, I love God of War. The biggest thing, like going back to Devil May Cry, like the biggest thing about it was like it's flashy. Like the stuff that Dante or Nero does. Like,
yeah, and they talk shit too.
Oh yeah, all the time. It's as flashy as possible. I've played all of them. Devil May Cry 2, of course, is the weaker of all of them. Like Devil May Cry 2 was the weaker one. 1 was good. 3 was really good. I played 4. I enjoyed 4, and I enjoyed Devil May Cry 5. Like I played 5 as well too. Like I did enjoy 5.
I actually still haven't played 4 or 5. I've played 1, 2, and 3, but I haven't played 4 or 5 or the reboot. I don't plan on ever touching the reboot.
I played the reboot too, just to kind of
do it. Yeah,
just to see what it was about.
Is that the one where he's like young?
It's a different Dante altogether.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a
it's
kid
a
with-
totally different
yeah.
Dante.
Yeah.
Like
My name
like
is Dante.
yeah, like he doesn't even have the white hair.
Yeah, he doesn't have the hair, right?
No, he's got black hair.
Yeah, I remember seeing it was like a kid, like a teenager almost looked like.
Yeah,
he looks like
I'm trying to say it without like giving spoilers to like people who didn't play it.
Yeah. But in terms of the first hour of the game, he looks like he's straight out of a Green Day band. He looks like
yes,
that's the best way to put it.
Yeah. Did you ever play like Final? Were you big into Final Fantasy at all, or?
I was aware of Final Fantasy. The first I keep dropping stuff over here. The first Final Fantasy that I played.
I dropped the whole ukulele earlier. You're killing me.
It's fine.
The first Final Fantasy that I played was 10. 10 was the first one.
That's a great one to start one.
Yeah, I was about to say that is a good Final Fantasy. That leaves a good impression in.
Oh yeah, like I really love that game. I have to actually have to go back and play it because I got all the way to the end when you fight Jet when he's fused with Sin, and I could not beat it.
Well, when I was a kid and like 10 years old, that game came out and I got up to Jet 2 and I could not get past that fucking part. And they play that rock music and shit and you're fighting him. I used to get bodied in front of my best friend all the time. I was like, this is a cheating ass fight. Because he get to the end and he just started turning up on you and taking all these extra turns.
Yep.
And I was like, Untitled was hard enough. Like,
if anybody's ever had trouble with Jet, quick little tip for you. If you've played a lot of RPGs, maybe you're not used to this, but for some reason, that final Jet fight, you can poison them. Poison works on them.
Yeah. See,
I wasn't for a lot of final bosses. For a lot of final bosses, poison does not work, but for some reason, poison works on Jet. So if you want to hit him with that poison, we'll start whittling him down.
Wait, does he not heal himself? Like
he does heal himself, but he's going to heal himself regardless.
Right. So just do it again.
The poison just helps.
Well, no, he heals himself in terms of HP. He doesn't cure the status effect of poison. He just takes it. So
I think Bravely Default, like randomly, a lot of the Bravely Default bosses just get poisoned and they can damn near just die to it.
Yeah. But I play a ton of video games, so but I resonate with the Kingdom Hearts a lot. Kingdom Hearts and Zelda are like in terms of single player games, those are two of my highest on my list.
Yeah, I'm really big in this. Like Zelda's an action adventure game. I'm so stupid. Like Zelda, I really love the Zelda franchise. Like like I grew up with
yes
Zelda.
Yes. Do you have a favorite Zelda game?
Honestly, Majora's Mask is my favorite.
Ooh, that's a good pick.
Like honestly, like I played Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time was good. Like of course traveling back and forth. Like that game was, especially like being the first one that was like fully 3D. Like they like it, and then me having the 64, it was very, very fun. That's how I got into those type of games and stuff. And of course I played all the other staples on there like Banjo-Kazooie, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Diddy Kong, like y'all were talking about in the N64 series. I love Diddy Kong over Mario Kart as well too.
Yeah, I just think that Diddy Kong was the better game, honestly.
100%.
I agree.
Mario Kart hadn't quite hit its stride yet. Like that was the first Mario Kart, right? Like that is the first one.
No, the first one's on SNES.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the first one's on SNES.
Okay, so Mario Kart 64 was just Mario Kart 64.
Yeah. But
yeah, Majora's Mask. That's one of my favorites. My top two, not counting Breath of the Wild, because
that's all. Honestly,
I love Breath of the Wild, and I have a hard time placing it. But my top two for Zelda has been Majora's Mask and Wind Waker. Those games are.
No, I love both of them. The biggest thing that drew me into Majora's Mask, outside of it, like still being connected with Ocarina of Time, but not really being connected with it, the transformations with the mask. I think like I saw the commercials when they came on, and then I saw you could transform into the Deku Shrub, into the Goron, into the Zora is my favorite mask.
Yes,
like like that one is the most fun.
His face fucking starts like drain. You see like the like ink stuff coming down. He's like pulling at his face. Why does it sound like he's in so much pain when he's transforming in that game? That used to creep me out a little bit. And then the moon, the fucking evil
the moon just sitting there looking at you, and then keeps getting closer and closer every day.
Yeah, I'm like, why is this game so dark?
That game is so good. It has some of the best side quests of any game I've ever played. 100%. Because it's in that 3-day structure, they set the side quest up to be like really, really interesting.
Like, well, you can do one part of the quest. Like this has to be like night of the first day, and then like you can't finish the quest until like literally the last day. Yeah, like the last couple hours. Like there's a couple of side quests that are like that are definitely time sensitive. But of course you have the Ocarina where you can like you can fast forward like the day.
Yep.
Or you can like fast forward there or skip a day, slow down time, like to where like the day takes a lot longer, so you can have more time to do stuff. The concepts for that game was very, very good. Like I enjoyed it.
I know they don't really do this, but they should kind of redo Majora's Mask.
Like a remake, or are you talking about like remaster?
Not really a remake, but like kind of do another Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, like blatantly.
Like just like in that same that same timeline.
Because it has so many interesting things with the time thing, but also the masks. Like that hasn't really been done since. It's just kind of
like if they could make another Zelda that like a Majora's Mask sequel, like
somehow
related to those mechanics. Yeah,
because I feel like Breath of the Wild is getting a sequel.
100%.
There's no feel like it's confirmed. Yeah, we have trailers and everything.
So there's a precedent for sequels now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they could sequel Wind Waker, they could sequel Ocarina of Time, they could sequel like they can literally just be like, this is a direct follow.
And the Breath of the Wild sequel looks like crack. Oh my God. I can't wait. I cannot.
I gotta play that game.
Oh yeah.
I think maybe I'll watch a playthrough.
No, I think the biggest.
Don't watch a playthrough. It's just not that kind of game. It's just not that kind of game.
You have to experience it. You have to experience it. It's good. I think like looking at the Zelda like franchise, I think one of the biggest things like it's all been good. Like I enjoyed Wind Waker, Twilight Princess was very good. Skyward Sword is like, of course, people are torn.
I still like the game a lot.
Like I enjoyed it and stuff. Of course, it's not like the better ones, but like it's not like, oh, I hate this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hate this game, but like I think one of the things like looking at the Zelda series as it progressed, one thing that I kind of like me personally that I kind of missed about it was the music aspect. I not say like the music of like the actual games, but like you being involved in it, like how you had the ocarina in Ocarina of Time, and then Majora's Mask, and then Wind Waker. Of course, you have the Wind Waker, even though you're not playing it, you're directing everything.
Yep.
But you're still making the music and stuff. Like I know, was it? I think is it Twilight Princess or the Skyward Sword where he has like the harp? I think that's Skyward Sword, right? I think.
And Skyward Sword, you have the harp, and Twilight Princess. Only like you don't have an instrument, but when you're a wolf, you do like you howl, and like you howl, like you can make music with your howls.
Right, but I know, but like with that, it wasn't as much. Like it wasn't like as much of like how the Ocarina and like the Wind Waker were. There was like little side stuff that you could do.
True.
Like, but I that was one of the big things. Like outside of like the gameplay, that was one of the things that I thoroughly enjoyed about the games because I do a little bit of everything. Like I'm a really big music person as well because I played instruments in like growing up, and actually like when I graduated college, my major was in music.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so like music like in all facets of it has a big impact on like my life.
The music in the Zelda games is something special.
It's phenomenal. It is phenomenal.
That is pretty damn good.
All right, well, we should start to wrap up. We have just crossed the 2-hour mark, but we are really happy that you came on, Blair. I'm really excited about this episode as well. Just all of my Yu-Gi-Oh peeps that I've been seeing for years who have done amazing things in the game and also outside of the game. I love all of you guys, and I'm glad that you're willing to come on our podcast and, you know, give your opinions on certain things, talk about the game, talk about anime and video games and all that.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely appreciate y'all having me. I'm definitely, even though like when I went and asked you about it, like, because when I saw the first couple of episodes, I was like, oh yeah, like this, I'm already digging like where like this is going and where it can go in the future. But I was like, man, I do want to be a part. Like this is something like I feel like I want to be a part of, and like just share my thoughts on like different things. Not even just like Yu-Gi-Oh, but like outside of Yu-Gi-Oh, like anime, other nerd topics and stuff.
Thank you. So, dude, we can definitely. Me and Frazier does all the time. We're definitely down to have people on again. I would love to have you on. We could talk about an anime, like you said, Outlaw Star is your favorite, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we could, talk about.
We could definitely talk about that and more Zelda
and more Zelda, everything.
Oh yeah.
So I really appreciate everything you said and just you being on and everything.
I got you. I definitely appreciate y'all. Thank you.
All right, so real quick, let me just go through our patrons because we always got to give them our shout out. We appreciate those guys. So over on Patreon, we have Connie, Austin, Leon, Xavier, Garen, Quest, and Hylian. We appreciate you guys. You guys are keeping the lights on for the IMNerd podcast.
That's true.
Because contrary to popular belief, it does cost money to run these.
That's right.
So we thank you guys a lot. So you guys are covering a lot of the expenses for the podcast, which is great. And your support means a lot to us, especially in these early stages. While we're growing and still learning a lot, still trying to figure out all the different types of content we want to put out. But we appreciate all of our listeners in general too. People who just, if you listen to this at work or at the gym or your ride to work, like Blair said.
The commute, the commute.
Yeah. However you listen to it, we appreciate your support, and hopefully there's some episodes for everybody. This is now episode 20.
Episode 20 for 20 tops.
Yep, 20 tops. And also we're out of our teen years, we're getting up there.
Mm-hmm.
We are getting up there. The podcast is, I want to say right now, it's probably 2 months old now. So I know we started in July, like mid-July. So it's mid-September now. So yeah, I think we're passing the 2-month mark. But yeah, this has been great, and we're growing, and I'm happy that a lot of people do fuck with this, what we're doing here.
Thank you.
But yeah, Blair, if you're looking to come back on the podcast with us, we'll reach out to you and we'll get you back on so we can talk about more anime and video games. And we'll see where Yu-Gi-Oh is at that point too, because I'm sure by the next time we do a podcast together, there'll probably be a ban list or something.
Oh, it's coming. It's soon.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually I keep telling people that I'm not going to play again, and I don't think I will. But depending on how the ban list looks, one of these days I might just be like, "Fuck it, that ban list looks juicy enough for me to jump back in." I might get in.
I think the biggest kicker is probably going to be the first IRL event. I think that's gonna be the one.
So I said I'm going to that no matter what.
Right.
And I hope it's in Cali, because me and you both love Cali. If it's in Cali, I would love it if it's in Cali, because as a non-player, going to Cali is fun in general.
Mm-hmm.
But then being able to see all the Yu-Gi-Oh people who I love and hanging out, and then also enjoying Cali would be the best experience. I hope that it's somewhere in the West Coast, just because I live on the East Coast and I'm always here. But if it's in Cali, that'd be great. If not Cali, then Florida for Universal and Disney. Or Atlanta just for black shit, because I just fucking love Atlanta. Is just
it's a lot of that in Atlanta.
Yes. Atlanta is my fave for just the blackiest of black. I just love it there. So great food, great people, great vibes. But all right, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you guys for rocking with IMNerd. It's episode 20. Hit us up on Patreon, subscribe to our YouTube, follow us and everything on all the other platforms, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff.
Hold up, before we go, Blair, is there anything you want to shout out for yourself?
Yes, if you have anything.
Not really. Of course, want to shout out everybody that I've met through the years in the game. All different. I know we hit on a little bit. We didn't really get into the sponsor years and stuff, but all the different sponsors that I've had, Kyle, Chris, all the people that I tested with and everything that got me to where I'm at now in Yu-Gi-Oh. Even though I don't play as much as I used to, but I didn't get here just by myself. I got here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's a journey.
Other people helped me up. Also, Scott Page. I know I had to do this for him before we go, because he knows that I'm the Cyber Dragon. Gawd. So I just have to do it. I had to do it for him one time. I had to do it for him one time.
I love that. Cyber Dragon Gawd. I like that. That was good.
Oh man.
All right. Well, I think we can.
All right.
Right?
Good times. Yep.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Have a good night or a good day. Peace out.
See you.